Well, yeah, I wouldn't. I'm sorry I asked you to do that. Don't make a mess. But we do miss my co-founder of the original Pause the Grind podcast and one of the 3 co-founders of Current Gen, and that is
I'm
Derek.
so sorry that I'm just third tier, co-host.
Hey,
Tim.
I said one of the 3.
You at least got a call out. So
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Howard and I were afterthoughts. We
are in episode 80, and there's already a lot of hurt feelings amongst the children because Dad didn't give them enough attention, apparently.
You don't love me enough, Dad.
That is right.
I'm gonna act out all episode now.
I guess I just don't get a mention.
I'm gonna be somebody someday, and I'm gonna be like, I told you so.
Oh
Everyone got extra long hugs, and Jeff and I are over here hugless. And
Yeah.
Well,
At the kids' table.
at the kids' table.
This is episode 80 of the Current Gen podcast. Welcome. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you
Halfway there.
subscribe, all that
Halfway
good
there.
stuff. Halfway there. Thank you, Jeff, for hosting last week.
Welcome.
You did an excellent job. Thank
No,
you,
I didn't,
Kyle.
but
and
thank you.
for
Thank you.
No, I didn't, but thank you.
Thank you.
I actually really did enjoy the tournament you guys went through. I do think that if you had my loudmouth there, that there are a few decisions that would have been made differently.
So
we
you
just
were one
embraced
of
the
the
chaos
two
at a certain
Yeah,
point.
we
for sure,
definitely
yeah.
there's a point where we just embraced that everything was wrong and
Yeah. Well, and also
DMC.
I also could tell, yeah, with DMC especially, you guys were having too much fun with the Cinderella story there.
Hey, it deserves it, Tim. It
very
deserves
It is the
undeserving.
underdog and it deserved it.
It deserves it.
This is not sports. These aren't guys that are working playing their hearts out. No,
Sports.
this is just mediocre games. Made
It
it
got bullied and it deserves it deserved a
It did
day.
get
Okay.
Just like all the emo kids
it
out there in
deserved a
real
day.
life.
my gosh. But if you guys missed that episode for whatever reason, go back and listen. That was fun. 2013 was surprisingly strong year. It's not one that
It was a great year.
strong year, but it really, really was. So go back and give that one a listen. I liked that episode. But now we've got a lot to talk about because Sony had their conference, the State of Play, which arguably one of the best conferences from anyone this year, maybe even in more than a year. So that was pretty excellent. We'll go over that. A few other, pieces of news here and there, some headlines, some rumors, stuff like that. But we're going to kick things off this week and spend the opening part of the show with what we're playing and watching now. I know usually we bump that to the end, but we've got a lot that we have played a little bit of. Some of us have been probably pouring a lot more time into certain games. There's a couple things on here that I forgot to list that I want to mention. So I just want to make sure we have plenty of time to talk about all the stuff we're playing. I think we've talked about this. There aren't huge blockbusters landing with a ton of frequency. There are some big games, but they're not the absolute big Rockstar, Ubisoft, Sony, or Nintendo exclusive type things. They're, in my opinion, from like that old school AA tier and down. Maybe I'm missing one or two, but they're
until
not.
Tom Clancy Extraction comes out, Tim.
Yeah,
Or what's the other one? No, I'm sorry. What's the rave one?
You're talking about it.
Is it Extraction?
No,
Okay.
no, there's a different one. It's called
Oh.
something.
It's like Deviant X.
Deviant X.
Something stupid like
All
that.
right, I missed the joke.
Wait, there's two different games now. I thought these were the same games all along.
Yeah,
Kyle,
there's one that's
look
like
that up.
Fortnite kind
I
of,
can't.
and then there's the Rainbow Six that's not Rainbow Six, but they're calling it Rainbow Six.
Google it.
I
Google
can't
it.
handle it. No, I won't.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But we also have a few things we're watching. Not a ton, but a few things. I mean, there haven't been any other big releases since you guys talked a little bit about Shang-Chi last week. And thank you for not spoiling it for folks like myself. I got to listen to you talk about it without feeling like you told me some major plot twist. So that was nice. And yeah, so let's just jump right into stuff that we're playing. I do want to start right away. I know we've given you a hard time about it in our group chat there, Jeff, but I want to hear about Life is Strange True Colors because just to give you a little context for me personally, I played through the first game and I loved it. Like I thought that was
It's great.
at that point at least better than what Telltale had done up to that point. Like I felt like it was the best just kind of episodic storytelling game kind of in that genre. And maybe there are better ones, but that was my personal favorite. I just really, really liked it. And I liked the gameplay, the time feature. I just thought it was really, really cool.
Good emotional ending. You hear
Great
that, Jeff? Good
ending.
ending.
Yeah. But here's the problem. I played Life is Strange 2 and I lost
Not
interest
touching it.
so fast. Yeah, don't do it. I lost interest so fast in Life is Strange 2, and it's not because the characters were bad. It's just it didn't have that same hook. It didn't compel me.
Yeah, the character. No, I mean to your point, kind of to backtrack a little bit, the characters weren't as interesting. If I'm fully honest,
the trailers didn't make
They
it
weren't as
seem that interesting, to be honest.
So I kind of just assumed like, all right, well, I really liked the first one. I'm not, and then the whole Captain whatever one game spinoff thing they did.
That was the
Yeah.
prequel to
It was like
the
a
second
bridge.
one.
It was
Yeah.
bridging over,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So
It was
all that
both
stuff,
prequel and it occurred during Life is Strange 2.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, all that stuff kind of lost me a little bit, and I was like, that's fine. I enjoyed the first one quite a bit, and I'm good. But now True Colors is out, and I'll tell you, the reviews are coming back great. But most importantly, Jeff, you sound like you're really liking it. Tell us about your experience with this game so far.
Yeah.
So is it still, you just got episode 1, or how are they releasing this one?
I'm in episode 2 now. It's
They-
all
they
five. All
released
5
the
are out.
entire thing. Yep.
Yeah, they released the entire thing.
Everything's you buy it and it's all there. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought
No water cooler talk.
I bought the most expensive edition, which is no water coolers. That's forbidden. The most expensive version, which I think is $80. That sounds right? Because normally it's 60.
It has
Something
the
like that.
remaster of the
So
original too. Right?
Yes, it
Yeah,
has. It
original.
includes the remastered collection whenever that comes out, which includes Life is Strange OG and Before the Storm
I'm gonna say
DLC.
$80 for a game like this sounds insane. But
And
if
it's
it
there's a
includes-
$60 version too.
There
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
but
where you
It's
just
$60
buy.
for this game.
Yeah.
Yes,
Huh.
because it's a full game.
Will
It's like a full.
It's
Yeah.
a full game. It's 14 to 20 hours, and I'm telling the graphics in this game are pretty out of this world in my opinion.
Yeah,
Just
dude.
for context
I am
of
so
my
floored.
comment. Just for context of my comment, I'm not suggesting it's not a full game or it doesn't look good. I am saying every other game like this in this genre that I can think of has
40
never come close
40
to
or
60.
30, right?
It was
Yeah.
it was usually 35 or 40 usually.
I mean, I remember buying the Telltale games pretty close to the beginning of when they launched. You buy the whole season pass for $25 in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I think as Telltale as Walking
I
Dead
bought the
went on, they
Batman.
got
I
more
bought the
expensive.
Batman series the entire season right when the first one launched. $25 got me.
Yeah, I think Batman was
so
25.
That's my reaction to $60 for one of these games. But
Mhm.
anyway, maybe it's worth that money.
I think they're overcharging compared to previous releases because this developer, I don't know, man, they're in some type of voodoo magic where the graphics just look freaking amazing in these games now.
Good.
Even the
I mean,
facial expressions are
right, dude.
Oh,
I
boy,
just got to a
yeah.
part in episode 2 where Jed, who was like the sweetest character in video game history,
Is he the minor
the old
hero
man.
guy?
Yeah, he's the old man
Yeah.
who runs the bar.
Yeah.
Bartend. He owns the bar. Where he like tells Alex, the main character, something, and then he winks at her after it, and I'm like, this would have never happened in the first freaking game. That game couldn't even match their lips to the words. Like,
Yeah.
like there's clearly mocap stuff going on in this game, and some next gen level whatever engine that they're on. It's painting the backgrounds and stuff. Like, I just went to the roof of the bar, which is you reside in a room above the bar, or like an apartment above the bar that you bartend at, and there's a roof above that where you can hang out and you can just sit there, and then music plays kind of like they do in Life is Strange 1, Life is Strange 2, where you can take a
when,
break,
Max,
sit down.
when Max goes to like her
Right.
room,
Yeah, and I think in Life is Strange 2, when they did it, you were drawing and they would play music, which is way less interesting to me, but whatever. I digress. But you can just sit there and listen to music, and she's talking, and what she's saying is important. It's more interesting to me than what Max would be saying sometimes. But you just look at the freaking background, and it's in Colorado, so you see the mountains and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And like,
It's a
just
good
so
setting.
beautiful. I
It's a
cannot
good
believe
setting.
how beautiful it is.
It's a good place to live.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've heard
yeah.
things from some people that might be there right now. I don't know.
I wouldn't know.
See, what I like is like, so they've done 3 main Life is Strange games now, right? And like you can
Yeah.
see an evolution, and there's like they're actually improving on the product, whether you like the story of the second one or not, right? Like the tech has improved, right? Whereas
Good
the
point.
Telltale games back in
Yeah.
the day would like they were just
Never
crapping those
improved.
out, and
Right.
like issues like
They were diarrhea.
glitchy.
Taking those
They
out.
had worked on that engine for so long. How they not got the kinks out of that engine, like 14 games in,
Right.
like is
Dude,
so
that's what
it's
was so
so insane to
frustrating.
me.
What's so
Like,
frustrating about the Telltale experience was by the time Walking Dead season 3 came out and it was starting to wrap up, and it didn't have a chance to wrap up until
Yeah.
whoever bought Telltale, I think it was Skybound, bought Telltale and then was like, okay, we got to wrap up Walking Dead, for crying out loud. That's the last season of Walking Dead. Looks amazing and it runs great. Like
Yeah.
you actually have more
so
of
it's
a
Telltale.
free range camera.
It was them all along.
It was, but there's just the fact that it was so hard to convince people that it was good. It was like it ran really well.
Yeah, I remember Derek
Because
saying this
everybody's
too.
been
Like,
so
I'm
burned by
surprised
it,
at how
you know?
smooth it is.
Yeah, you've just been so burned by the previous
So
titles.
Skybound must have been like,
Chips.
listen, this engine's got to be like priority, guys. Like you got to get this in working shape, like completely. So-
Maybe.
So with Life is Strange, if you remember the first game, I'm pretty sure the dialogue was written in another language first. Isn't it a French studio or?
Yeah, they're European.
Did do the first two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not do
I'm
this one.
pretty
And
sure
so-
this is an American
So
studio.
that's probably a big reason why
Yeah.
sometimes the dialogue felt really fast and forced or
Uh-huh.
rushed or off. It's because it was translated. It was just
There's some of that in 2 as well, and it's not
Okay.
just the dialogue. It's the voice actors they hire. I think
so.
I don't know. Maybe their
the-
standards are lower because
the
they're
first-
not American, so they don't know what a
Okay.
natural voice
Yeah.
sounds like. But
The
the voice
guys
actors
that
in
did
this
this
are
one
next
are
next
from
level.
Beyond the Storm. Is it Beyond the Storm?
Yeah, it's the Beyond the Storm guys.
So
yeah.
Beyond the Storm did this one as
Or
well.
Before
So
the Storm, sorry.
or Before the Storm. Yes, thank you.
Yep.
So wherever they're based out of,
Yeah.
whether they're in Europe or not, I don't know.
I don't know if they're
actually,
American or not. but-
Now that you mention it, they may actually be like in Europe or something.
I'm gonna check.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's-
please
Well, all I
do,
know is
yeah.
that the
I'm-
It's
original
Deck 9
game-
now. Yeah.
one of the drawbacks of that, one of the criticisms of that game was, hey, a game that's so focused on dialogue and conversation and reading what's going on and all that stuff, it was clearly translated into English from another language, and it was originally designed, created, everything was spaced and staged with a different language, and so that doesn't always have a huge effect. Sometimes it's no problem. Other times, and we're kind of used to it with a lot of anime stuff, where like
Sure,
a lot of us are
yeah.
accustomed to that.
Right.
This was a little
yeah.
different because it kind of felt like something that was happening in suburban
This
America.
this one's
Yeah.
definitely feels like the most moist,
Hmm.
Yeah.
organic version
Yeah.
of the dialogue and
Yeah,
and
I
the
feel like
acting.
I feel like the dialogue and the acting is better than it's ever been.
So-
So does it
and,
throw you right
like,
into it? Do you get to do gameplay right away? Do you learn your powers right away? How does it?
mean,
how
More
does it pick you up?
cinematic at first, yeah. for
Yeah,
sure.
I
There's a
feel
lot
like
of-
the first whole episode I was trying to find a stopping point to watch the new What We Do in the Shadows episode, and like there was not a lot of moments where you're even walking around. It's just like kind of
Okay.
one dialogue cutscene after the next or whatever. But there are moments where you're like, okay, now you're in a room, figure out like the thing that you need to touch. It becomes that like, adventure type style game. I don't know, and that really worked because like there's a lot to set up. You're setting up a whole new town. And
Yep.
it's
They
small
have-
town vibes. Everybody knows each other, so you need to learn like who's the flower shop lady
think-
and who's this and who's
Dude,
that.
I think that's what 2 was missing. In 2, you're the two brothers on the run because you're
yeah.
wanted.
I think they were trying to purposely do something different.
I
and,
get
like,
that, but I would
Yeah, and I
waited
don't.
until, like,
I
Life is
like
Strange
this.
4
I like
maybe
the
to do
town
that.
vibes because Arcadia in the first one was like that. Where you're like you
Yeah.
knew all the
Right.
kids. You're
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to you're interacting with the same people. You're kind of getting an idea of who interacts with who and what their relationships are. You didn't get that in 2, and that was the hook that was missing for a lot of us.
And 3 is they prioritize right away. You're in the town and you're learning every single character's name.
Yeah,
their quirks,
everyone's
what they
very
love.
friendly. They're
Yeah.
they're on a hugging basis. That type of thing.
The drama of there's one couple that goes through some drama that you are involved in, unfortunately, because the brother that you just reunited with. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some
There's-
stuff going on there.
yeah, there's some stuff going on there.
And that's the thing is like
it's
nothing like
cool.
overly supernatural has happened quite yet, but like I kind of care about what's happening with characters already, and I'm like,
Exactly.
how did they do this?
Yeah.
Like, how magical is this?
Yeah.
Where like I'm already
Just good
invested
writing.
in.
Good
But
writing.
it's exactly
Yeah.
what it is, Again,
Yeah.
we were talking a lot last episode, Dan and I, about how like a lot of times story just means more than gameplay and a lot of
Yeah.
stuff when you're talking
I
about
can
a story
forgive a game
narrative
for having like like swimming in sevens gameplay, right? If
Yeah.
the story is like a 10 out of 10.
Mass
Yeah.
Effect 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
That is a chore of a game to play.
But if the story is a swimming in sevens and it's like it's fun to play, well, it's like okay, I mean it's fun to play, but then it depends on what genre. Like then it's kind of
Yeah.
like I'm
does.
less inclined. There's
It's really
nothing.
true.
Dude, I have got examples for all like Devil May Cry, even Devil May Cry 5. I didn't care about the story. I liked the characters. I thought they were kind of cool, but what happens to them? Maybe you guys really cared about it. I didn't really care that much. I thought it was like a 7.5
It was
out
fun.
of 10
It was
story.
fun.
It was very fun.
So much.
Yeah.
But the gameplay was so good. Like the combat was,
was, yeah.
so
Dude,
fun.
Dude, Dante is like top tier like main character for
so
me. Like,
fun.
The thing is,
So-
there's not a lot of story in 5. It's more just like how many
Yeah.
references can we make to the other games?
Yeah.
And that's what I
And
like.
they do
about
it.
I'm like,
They do
this
it
is such
all the way
fan
to the
service.
end, like all the way to credits. It's still fan service. All the way.
Yeah.
So by the
okay,
way,
so Derek,
the
or
reason-
Dan, you did some sleuthing. So what'd you find?
yeah, so the reason why this game takes place in Colorado is because they're from Colorado.
Deck 9 is in
Deck
Colorado.
9 is Colorado.
West-
I'm gonna go get a
Westminster.
job there today.
Westminster,
yeah, dude, Kyle,
Colorado.
What are you doing, bro?
Are you guys
Yeah.
close to Westminster?
It's actually me and Kyle. We made this game. Each one.
Yeah,
of them.
that's right. Yeah, you surprised
two-man
everybody.
Yeah. And I QA'd. We nailed it.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you guys
And I
do want to
cried
come
while
visit,
watching.
if you're watching this on video, you can see Kyle and I have the Colorado beards. You have to have one of these to get in.
Especially, yeah, they
They
actually
have
stock you
borders
with an
allowed.
order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
We
not
don't
allowed.
care about vaccine mandates, but beard mandates, those are
Big time.
The
Yeah.
beard.
And
The
I'm
beard
not
you
even
could just roll up
joking.
over, right? You just
I've
roll
been
the
to
beard.
sandwich shops in Boulder. If you had a beard and or tattoos, you got a discount on your sandwich. And I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding you. Like that's the type of state we live in.
Nice. Nice.
that's where we are.
Would they charge me more money because I can't grow a beard, or? Is that
No,
probably-
I mean they would be like, that's enough. That's enough.
They would eye me. They would
Yeah.
be like,
I don't know. You
You
have
just,
like,
all right.
just moved here, didn't you?
all right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It still got
Clearly
it's
You got
trying.
in, did you?
How was the big city, fella?
City Slicka.
All right. So in general, with Life is Strange: True Colors, are you suggesting that whether you love the series or if you're like me that kind of like kind of mellowed on it a little bit, you're saying give it another shot,
I
right?
think if you miss the charm of the first one, I mean, it's there in this one for sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's immediately there in this
Yes.
one, and I
think
picked
that's
out
the point.
3 Twin Peaks Easter eggs already. You know,
Already?
so, like,
Oh,
yeah.
you got to tell me what the. Cause,
Oh, there's
yeah,
a poster in the background. Is the name one that says Fire Walk, and that's the
Oh,
name
I
of it,
totally
Fire
missed
Walk
that.
with me.
I
Yeah,
love that they're
like,
continuing that, even though they're different
yeah.
developers.
It's big
I noticed,
big vibes there.
In the second episode, when I change clothes, you can change clothes in this game, by the way. There's a
Superb.
shirt that has 2 wolves on it. I'm like, oh, that's the second game. The second game is the 2 wolves. The brothers are called themselves.
Oh,
Cute.
I was gonna say the only drawback, at least maybe for some people, it might be a little bit for me too, is that the ability that you're cursed or blessed with, however you want to look at it, is not a hard. It's not a good. It's hard to sell people on.
it's lame,
like,
right? It's kind of
it's
lame.
a little lame.
The power to feel. You know?
Yeah.
Which is
it's
what
really
we should
hard to
all have
sell.
in real life.
I will say it's really working for me so far, but like
Mhm.
it's not time travel.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's
Like
it's clearly several
you
steps
go
down
from
time
being kind
travel.
of like a Omega level mutant to like in this movie you're kind of like Jubilee level. You know what I mean? If y'all
I'm gonna
understand
throw
Sparkles.
fireworks to see if I can resolve it.
yeah, like, and so it's like but it's still cool. Like fireworks are still cool.
Like
you know,
if Deadpool
but,
in
like,
this, he would be talking
it's
about
not
how
turning
20th
back
Century
time
Fox
cool.
didn't
Yeah.
give him the starting lineup of mutants. You know, that's how he would be talking about it.
yeah, right.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Tim, to answer your question, I would say that if you feel like you're drowning in games already and you're kind of taking a sabbatical from Life is Strange, grab it on a sale. You know it's going to be on sale soon. You know,
Yeah.
give yourself a break from it. But I feel like it should be something that people check out because I mean the second we get off this, and I'm loving Tales of Arise and some of the other games I'm playing right now, that's the game I'm going back to.
Okay. All right.
Same.
Yeah.
I feel like $60 is too steep, and maybe my mind will
I
be changed
understand.
on that when I play it. That feels too steep for a mostly story-based. You know, and I know it's not a walking simulator, but it's closer to that than it is to an action.
I feel like there.
agree.
Can I just say there's a lot more going on in this game. Like there's moments where you're like, okay, you can play an arcade game, and they have like program and
That's awesome.
Yeah,
arcade
there's
games.
a ton of mini games, dude.
And
I
then
just played
I
foosball
know
in
there's a
episode 2.
moment. There's a moment in the game where you play like a LARP scenario, and the game
Yeah.
turns into a turn-based.
Was this Shenmue
RPG.
4 then? This is Shenmue 4 we're talking about?
It's exactly right. Yeah,
Okay,
they
got it.
snuck it in, guys. They made it.
They did it.
So
Shenmue
there
set
are.
it
I
up.
would say there are more mechanics in like walking around and talking to people.
fair.
And
That's
I
good to
thought
know.
that those were some, but I'm not trying to say that that's worth $60, but like that's why I'm really trying to sell the sell angle. If you see it
But
on a
it's
sale,
not
Absolutely.
just walking.
you like the
conversation
very first season, you know, this is that, and if you want to grab it for kind of a first season price, like that's gonna be that'll be soon.
Okay. So yeah, it's not just let me go from point A to point B and start another combo necessarily. It's more than
No,
that.
Not
there's
all the
a lot of
time.
mini game options.
Yeah,
cool.
there's a
cool.
lot of moments you can breathe and do some other things.
Yeah, I played foosball with one of the ladies I've been trying to court.
Foosball's the devil.
And it's just crazy. It's crazy that you can. They came up with their own separate controls for the foosball. Like I'm like, what other mini games am I gonna encounter in this?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, really.
You know what? We
and-
should actually do an episode where we rank our favorite game within a games because there's so many really good ones.
There
And
are.
Oh, there's
I
so
know
many.
Dan,
And
I know Dan Final Fantasy has a bunch. Witcher has some. I think Valhalla's
A Way Out,
game
me and
is
Jeff
really
did
fun.
like
Triple
what
Triad
was
for
it? Was
life.
it basketball? What were we playing in A Way Out? Like it was like a side game in A Way Out.
I
for,
remember
like-
that.
I don't
Way Out.
remember.
Yeah,
There
but
was-
there was
yeah, there's
something
so
we
many
were
games.
like, this is the game now.
Clearly the number one is Crash Bandicoot and Uncharted 4.
And Uncharted 4, you played
Yeah,
Crash.
that's amazing.
Obviously, that's number one, right? Gaston
just had a heart attack.
Hey, Gaston,
Yeah,
comment
right.
on the link below
Yeah.
because you're on Facebook.
You're such a sweetheart. I love that you listen every week. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Gaston, you're
He's like blocked right now, I think, from Facebook.
He is, yeah. He's
stuff.
been reaching out via Messenger to me and checking in. So.
Sounds the best. But yeah, that'd be an interesting one because there are a lot of really good games, and some of them are like shockingly deep, like Gwent, for example, or
Yeah.
Triple
Yes.
Triad.
Yeah.
Some of my
Love
favorite
Gwent.
card games, like card-based battle games. I love Triple Triad. I love Gwent. I love these games as separate standalone. So anyway,
Anything in Red
The
Dead
one
2
in Assassin's
was
Creed
pretty
Viking
badass,
was
too.
pretty good.
Yeah,
That one
Red
was
Dead.
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Assassin's Creed Valhalla, for all the shortcomings it had, I know. I loved I already forget the name of it, but it was that battle dice
that
game.
dice
I know
game.
what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
that
Yeah.
Once you kind of
Yeah,
get
that's
into
the
the
one.
groove of it and
Yes.
understand the powers, it's like, this is actually pretty cool. I like this.
Yeah.
I
I remember dedicating a whole hour to it's like in the opening 10 hours of the game, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna spend an hour on this freaking
Yeah.
I did, yeah. The very first time you come across one of those boards, I sat there and played like games until I figured out, and I was like, oh man, I think 45 minutes just passed.
Yeah.
Do you
Whoops.
think those are based off of real games from like historical games in some cases, or they make them up? Do they create them?
I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
for the
I don't
Vikings
know.
one, I feel like that may be at least based off of something.
They do a lot of research for those games.
they have
Yeah,
to.
yeah. That's you got to really give it up for those like
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed games. They really do their history homework. So
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know if that one is true, but I bet it's based off something. If I had to be a betting man about it.
Yeah. Well, I want to jump over to Dan. We heard a little bit from Kyle and Jeff on Life is Strange. Dan, let's talk about Tales of Arise. I know a few of us have tried it, but I want to get your thoughts first. You're our resident JRPG expert. So how much have you played so far? What do you think so far? I know next week we'll dig into it more when we've had more time with it, but it just released. We're recording the same day that it released. So what have you played so far, and what do you think?
I probably played less than Kyle, to be honest. I played probably only about 40 minutes, like just basically the intro. Because actually, I forgot, what else came out today? WarioWare, Wario game. So I picked that up, and my wife and I were actually playing that. That game is just bananas, dude. Of course, complete and utter
I can't
bananas.
wait to hear about that one. To be
Yeah,
honest.
But yeah, no, I mean, so because I had played the demo and I played like a good hour of that because I kind of like ran around in the demo just to kind of see the environments. The environments are like they're insane, dude. Like they're just gorgeous. This is the next step of like cell shading, like back on PS2. Like in any game, like if they took, I would love a Dark Cloud 3 that had this like engine,
good
like
callback.
this engine and this artistic style, and just make a sequel. Yeah, because I love Dark Cloud 1 and 2.
PS2,
especially
right? Both
2.
of those?
Yes. Rogue Galaxy, because that was also level 5. So like you could take Rogue Galaxy, put it in this art style. Like, yeah, this game is just like it's gorgeous. There's
Just
actually
a real quick aside on that. It's not super gorgeous if you don't play it on a current gen console.
Console. I mean, I don't know. Yes.
Wow.
I'm playing it on PS5, so I don't know what it
I'm
is.
on.
Like on
So I'm on
PS4.
the Xbox One X. That's where Derek purchased it, and I don't have a Series X yet. And so I do like that it's got the whole smart delivery thing. Thanks, Phil. And so I'm glad that we have that, and I can play it. But the load times aren't super great,
Okay.
and the detail in the environments actually it's good. But the way you're describing it, I'm like, he's got to have a different experience than I'm having because it's
So
not
it's
blowing
muddy.
me.
Like, does it look muddy? Like,
It's a little muddy. It's not super detailed. It's fine.
Okay.
It looks like on par with a lot of JRPGs I've played. It looks fine, but with the characters and the animation, that all looks amazing. But the backgrounds look fine. They look okay.
Oh, I'll back you up, Dan. I'm playing on PS5, and I think it looks just brilliant.
Because like I literally went on a tangent when I talked about the demo with like the cliffs and just like kind of like the texture of the rocks and like the earth and everything, and like it's just super detailed. It's just I don't know what they did.
There's
like
no reason for it to be that detailed, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you're just walking through a corridor and like 90% of these maps. So
so hey, make the rocks look nice, like, and they do. And they do.
Yeah, they don't have to render a whole world. So like it's a pretty detailed. Now I'm interested to see what it looks like on old consoles.
It looks bad, but I do think you'll notice the difference.
Yeah. That makes me happy that there is a difference, because sometimes I feel kind of like, am I playing a PS5 game, or am I playing or am I booting it? Am I wasting my precious space on my PS5 for a PS4 game?
It's probably not like when you have a PC graphics settings and you can just change the sliders on certain elements, like, hey, textures, I want low, medium, high. I'm gonna guess on the Xbox One X and probably on the PS4 Pro, it's more in the low to medium range, and you guys are seeing it more in that high to ultra range. That's probably the
Okay.
difference. Is
I
the
follow
textures.
that. Yeah.
That's my
Okay.
guess.
Well, good. I'm glad I have a PS5. Suck it for all you people that don't.
Yeah, try harder.
Stop being poor.
So the stop being
Just get a
That's
better
what Game
job.
Pass is
Jeez.
for. Yeah, so so one of my main concerns playing the demo, because there wasn't a lot of like cutscenes and kind of like getting a feel for the characters and the voice acting, except for like the little sort of vignettes where like kind of the boxes come in almost like a comic book and they have conversations. There are like regular cutscenes, and in the beginning of the game there's a decent amount of them, so I'm like, okay, at least it's so there are cutscenes and like moments
they mix it up.
Yeah, they mix it up and there are conversations happening, so you get a feel for like what the characters are, and they're talking about the world, and there's a lot of like weird pronounced words being thrown out there, like cities.
So much jargon. Oh
yeah,
my
there's
God.
so much jargon, like weird city names. People have weird names. I can't even think of any off the top of my head.
Rushan and Run-On. I don't know. Like they're two different types of people, but they rhyme.
The big ball
confusing.
dude. His name sounds similar to Ballsack, and my wife was sitting
I
beside
keep
me.
on calling him that too.
It also sounds kind of like Broseph, so it's a weird name.
Yeah,
but
it's
my
a
wife
weird
was
name,
like, "Did he say ball sack?" And it's like, "No, it's what is it? Ball set."
It's like Joseph, but Balseph.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ball. But we'll call him ball sack because he's bald, so it works, right? Ball sack. So. Yeah. So
almost
like
as bad as Unobtainium from.
Nothing will ever be. That's the king.
But you know, that's just typical JRPG stuff, right? You're creating this world and you're just throwing out words, so it's all good. The combat is super fun, and again, I'm just playing like the beginning of the game. In the demo, you actually had your full party, so like I've already experienced what kind of will be more the full extent, which is like having them come in and do like attacks alongside with me and like finishing moves, and it just looks super flashy and cool, and yeah, it's just fast and fluid. Which you can switch between auto, semi-auto, and then like fully manual. So like you can actually just have the game like take the reins for you if you don't want to deal with the combat.
You set the strategies and then let them go. Kind of like Final Fantasy 12 lets you do some of that stuff.
Yeah. But I think it's also for like basically the whole party. Like you can even just have your main character just like take the reins, like whatever. I'm just here for the story, so to speak. So so kind of giving you some options, which I like.
Easy mode.
Yeah, exactly. Baby mode.
It's like in that one Mario game where you could let Luigi do the level for you, basically. I don't know if you remember which Mario that was.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember what Mario was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, again, I'm not super far in, but by the next episode, I absolutely will be, because I actually have this week off. My wife and I do, so I'm going to be playing a whole bunch.
Yeah, I've got a few days off this week too. I played a little bit, and I'm curious, Kyle, your thoughts too. But just wanted to chime into what you were saying, Dan. I think they set up a very interesting world. It actually gives me some Fire Emblem vibes, story-wise, and character-wise.
Kind of like classes of people.
Yeah, here's the kingdoms, here's the classes. Here you are. Let's give you some empathy right away, because you not only have amnesia and you're stuck in this, faceless iron mask, and who knows why. And then there's also this mysterious, powerful, beautiful girl who's been captured and is
slaves and like this race of people that showed up in like spaceships and like conquered like this land, and like
it's got lots of very epic vibes with huge story with kingdoms and politics involved. So I think they did a good job for someone like myself who has barely dabbled in the Tales games as it is. I got to start this game and feel like, all right, I already kind of get. I don't understand all of it by any stretch. There's a lot there, but I get the gist, and I'm in for, all right, I'm rooting for this hero. I want to fight as him and take down these bad guys. So I liked that. The combat is pretty fun, if not a little repetitive at the beginning. I am looking forward to some of the stuff you're talking about, because of course they're just teaching me the ropes. But at the beginning, it's a lot of you're hacking with some of the same buttons. But I'll tell you what, I love the dodge mechanic, and also the way that you build up those little blue orbs for your special moves. You chain those together in some combos that are awesome. And as long as you don't use the same special move twice in a row, your combos really start to stack up the bonuses.
I really like that mechanic a lot, where there's a point of diminishing returns for using the same combo over and over again. They're like, don't do that.
They'll sort of like take what is it? They'll be sort of less staggered, or so to speak. Like if you
put out less damage and you stagger them less. Yeah,
it was cool.
Just.
And at first, I was just kind of randomly using those moves. I didn't understand it. And then once they kind of show you a little bit, they give you a little hint like, hey, try using these types of combos and try to space out when you use them, so you're not going back, using them over and over again.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I realized, charge up all three, do your one base attack, do your one uppercut to knock him in the air, and then do your aerial attack. And all of a sudden, I was doing tons of damage. I was like, oh, got it. So once you get those basics and they start adding in more abilities later that you can equip, it's
combat has always been like definitely like they do it really well in Tales. It was just more sort of the way that the battles were structured were like limiting with the older ones. The sort of like, you know, just kind of on one plane, so to speak.
You're on a plane, like you can run forward and backwards, and that's really it.
This is full 3D.
This is like
it's an arena
RPG.
It's an arena,
Yep. So overall, I'm digging it so far. Kyle, what are you thinking so far?
Loving it. Yeah, I think it's got a really strong opening. You know, RPGs, like, they really got to grab me. Like, I need that world to grab me. I need characters to grab me. Yeah. Tales, like, when it's at its best, has the best characters in RPGs, I think. You know, they're not my favorite RPGs in the world, but, like, they usually just have, like, a cast full of just super interesting characters whenever they're on it. So I've played plenty of Tales games where every character sucked, you know? So they're not... It's not always a slam dunk. So
I think there's almost always the very loud, deep-voiced leader of the rebel group in every JRPG ever made. He's like, "Hey there, Iron Mask." Like,
there's no bulky guys in this one.
Yeah, I'm your, guide, or I'm sure he's gonna get iced or something, and
or he's gonna become your side character as you become the real general. Like, that's how these games typically. Fire Emblem has that every time as well. So anyway.
I'm really enjoying kind of like the way that they're setting up the world again, like we were talking about how a lot of these people are like slaves, and then kind of like what they're enslavitude to do, or slavery to do, like that was kind of an interesting reveal. I'm in the first hour and a half of the game, and like I really enjoyed.
I'm about at that point too.
Yeah, like a lot of what I played, but like I feel like I'm still deep in the tutorial of this game, to be honest.
I just got past. There's a big kind of story moment where you see how your character and the girl character are both pretty special.
Yeah,
that's the section I just got past, and that was pretty cool, like pretty epic.
I really like that. Yeah,
and it kind of made me go like, all right, I want to see what happens next here, because and then they also, of course, the big loudmouth leader guy who joins you, he lays out very clearly the next steps. He's like, next we're gonna go take down that wall. Like, he kind of like says very clearly what we're gonna do. Yeah. So I guess I kind of appreciate that too. Anyway, I'm at the same, that's roughly the spot where I turned it off last night. I played it a little bit last night because in Colorado it unlocked at 10 p.m. So
it's pretty nice to get it that early.
Yes.
You know what's funny though? We're at a point with some of these games, the in-engine graphics are like better than the cutscenes.
Yes.
Like in this one, like the anime cutscenes, which like I love anime, but like the in-game engine is so beautiful that like the anime cutscenes are kind of pointless, to be honest.
They're almost
like, that's Tales. Like, I remember when it like switched to Vesperia, they're like, we have all hand-drawn cutscenes, and I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever. And that's been the identity of the Tales franchise for a long time now, and you're absolutely right. Now the graphics engine looks so good. Yeah. When it goes to an anime cutscene, I'm like, I don't hate it. Like, I still love it, but I'm like,
this would have looked better in engine. Like,
we could have, could you just have done it? Whatever, it's fine. I get that it's still part of its like DNA. So
exactly. It's almost like an homage, you know.
Yeah, we'll come back to Tales of Arise next week. I have a feeling at least a few of us will play a little bit more of it. I do want to talk about one of my bigger disappointments, and it's not because I played it myself. I know Jeff played it, but also because of the reviews that came out. I was excited for this game. This was kind of on my short list of games to watch out for. Maybe I'll buy it, and that was Song of Iron. I really thought it looked cool. It's this side-scrolling Viking art. I think it's an action RPG. At least that's how they pitch it. So I thought this looks pretty cool. Sounds like maybe it's swimming in sevens at best.
Yeah, I would even go six. Sailing in sixes.
Sinking in sixes.
Sinking in 50.
I think it's in the 50.
Flailing in fives.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're getting it.
So I didn't notice any. I kind of dropped the game very early on after I died a few times, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to be very good at this combat. I just kind of figured early on, I should probably switch to Life is Strange S type games that I can move along quickly on. Yeah, seven. I guess I could see sevens of all the gameplay, more advanced gameplay footage that I saw of people that were later in the game. I think the class of enemy kind of changes a little bit, but you're really just picking up weapons along the way. I didn't notice any actual RPG elements where you're upgrading your dude.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It looked like to me you were just kind of picking up swords and shields and bows and arrows along the way, because your weapon, or at least your shield, does deteriorate as it takes damage. So you have to pick up a new one that an enemy drops. But I just found the gameplay itself to be kind of sluggish. Like, the latency between button press and action was just like a little frustrating. That even happened in Life is Strange to me, and during foosball, and it made me flip my lid. It's like, I hit that ball, dang it.
Foosball.
So that's, I don't know, that's like a mild frustration, especially in an action game where you're like, if I hit the button, I want it to do like immediately, and I want to be able to kick this dude's face in.
Right.
And the button, I'm sure you could probably change the mapping. I didn't do it. Again, when I lose patience with a game, I lose it pretty quickly and move on to something else. But the button mapping just felt counterintuitive to me. Like, it's just not the buttons I would press for an action game. Like, I'm trying to remember what the right bumper does, but it's like, I think that's like your main action button. And I was like, this feels off. Like,
Yeah.
You're not going to use the trigger or the X or whatever the.
I remember there are some games
that
that have you use this, like on the PlayStation, the circle button for your main confirm, and I'm like, this is incorrect. I don't know.
That's
Every
Japanese
Konami
confirm.
game, yeah.
Well,
Every
they
Konami
follow the Japanese rules, right? That's what they do in Japan.
They
so.
do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, but this is a Viking game, okay? We're going to do things in the weirdest order possible.
Square is confirmed.
I think dodge was the X button on the Xbox controller.
I'm looking at the Metacritic reviews for this, and it's interesting. It's not like it's consistently getting 6s and 7s. It has
It's kind of all over the place.
as a 60 and as high as 100. So I don't know who to trust here.
Yeah.
100.
But it
Steam
does
reviews
sound
you'll
like
find are mixed too. Like, they're kind of like,
yeah.
they're just kind of all over the place. And I get it.
It sounds like a kind of game that, when it hits the inevitable, really steep holiday sale, I'll be like, all right, it's time to give this one a try. I've heard about it. Let me just try.
Yeah.
So
I got it at like 20
off on it, but
$20 or 20.
It sounds like Valheim is still on top, Tim, as far as Vikings
Valheim.
go.
Yes.
Viking content. Yeah, that's
Yep.
still the
Tribes
top.
of Midgard gave it a good shot. Pretty decent game, very creative, but didn't quite get me like Valheim did. And now it sounds
No.
like Song of Iron also not quite. But you know what game I am enjoying that came out? I was similarly interested in this one with Song of Iron. Song of Iron, technically a Xbox console exclusive, and Fist, Forged, and Shadow Torch, technically right now a PlayStation console exclusive.
Yeah.
Sony is better. Okay, guys. Fist is better.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Tim. I'll
It's
pat
a
myself
great
on the
game.
back.
I mean, so far it is. It's a
So,
great.
I
side-scrolling
hate the
action game.
name. I hate everything about the name.
Yep.
Fist.
I wish they
Yeah.
would call it Metal Gear Bunny. It would be much better. I don't know. But I hate the name Fist, Forged in Shadow Torch. But the cheesiness of the name, the corniness of the name, whatever description you use, I grew up saying cheesy. It fits really well with a lot of the dialogue and moments that are in the game. It's pretty hokey at times where it's like,
Very.
oh boy.
I mean, also, it's like you're just saying the name twice because the acronym is
Correct.
Forged in Shadow.
So the game is called Fist.
It is.
But he
I
only
was
has
about
one
that, but I
giant
like
fist, Kyle.
Fist me, bro.
That's what you meant. Knuckles. Got it. Okay.
Fist me.
So
Yeah, pound it out.
Yeah.
This game's-
What other context is there?
that's the
Whatever.
only one. That's the only one.
Derek.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Um,
PG show, guys.
This game starts out at first where it's a little basic. It's like, okay, it kind of slowly teaches you very basic side-scrolling platforming and
Yeah.
action mechanics. But once there's certain points you start to get some combos. You can start using these computers and these discs that you find to upgrade the mechanical arm that's attached to your back. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen any trailers for this, you are in this kind of humanoid animal steampunk style world, I guess you could say.
Yep.
And
Anthropomorphic, which I mean, Gaston, just for you.
anthropomorphic, thank you. That's the word I was
This
looking
is
for.
the Gaston episode. He's just-
And
Yeah.
I think this is a good example. I think, Jeff, you mentioned this in our group chat where this was very unnecessary to make it animals. They just did. Like, it could have totally been just human characters.
People, aliens. It literally could have been
Whatever.
anything.
But
Yeah.
if it were people or aliens, they
Yeah.
couldn't have called all the people that live there Fertisons, which they do. They call them Fertisons. But
Freaking
once you start
Cute.
upgrading to some different combos and some special
Yeah.
moves, and then you get slight
Yeah.
spoiler here if you don't want to know anything about the game, but it's pretty obvious. You get a new attachment. So instead of a fist, the first attachment you get is this drill that can do everything from help you hover to create tornadoes and wind tunnels and stuff.
So
Yes.
you're fisting and you're drilling.
Mm.
All right.
These
All
devs
right.
know what they're doing.
Yeah. Dan, I don't know why that's confusing. What do you mean? What do you mean by those things?
No, I mean,
Okay.
Is there a
but
plow? Are you plowing also? Or you just
wow.
no plowing yet. We'll see. I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Screw him.
But
TLC.
but once you get that second weapon, you can swap between them pretty quickly. I'm finding the combat to be pretty fun, and it gets pretty challenging.
Combat is fun. Yeah.
So I'm really digging this game, even though sometimes you got to push through some of the let's
it's-
call it half-baked dialogue and
Is it a
voice acting.
Metroidvania or is
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You will definitely pass doors and areas or walls, places you can't reach,
Cool.
and you're like, oh, got to come back for this later. So
Exactly.
Such
Definitely.
a sucker. for
Yeah,
those
it's
games. Ugh.
much like Ori. You upgrade
Yeah.
your platforming capabilities along with your weapons, so you'll get like a double jump and what.
We don't get
later on.
Castlevanias anymore, so I have to play knockoffs. You know. So.
Yeah.
Thanks, Konami.
Yeah. Thanks, Konami.
so
And what's
I'm-
what's funny is the voice acting in this game is so. I think I mentioned this in our chat. It's so much like a Steven Seagal '90s movie. Like everybody's just talking like this. Not if I have anything to say about it.
So one
Steven
of my favorite
Seagal.
parts is at the beginning, your main rabbit character is sitting at the bar with his buddy, this big old bear, and then there's a
Big
guy.
old
I think it's a red panda who's running the bar, and the three of you are clearly friends. The way you're talking, you've known each other for a long time.
Right.
Something happens, and one of the characters is gone, and that gives you motivation to start going to do stuff that you're going to do, and the other character's right there, and your character says right in front of them like, he's all that I had. And it's like, well, there were three of you, and he's still right there. he's still right there.
Like, oh, so that's how you feel about me, huh?
Yeah.
So it's just, it has a lot of that. Like the main character's supposed to be kind of this gruff voice, tough hero.
Yeah.
He's very Steven Seagal.
It's like
So
the
that-
Ben
that-
Stiller parody in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, it absolutely is that.
again. Yeah.
So it's got some of that. If you could let go of some of that, like don't go into it thinking, oh, this story is gonna move me. Then
No.
I think it's
No,
enjoyable.
It's fun. It's hokey fun.
Yeah. This,
I like
I mean, I don't know if it'll land here or not when it's all said and done. Depends on if it overstays its welcome. But right now, it's kind of in that 7.5, maybe 8 range for me, just because I think the combat's quite fun, quite
It
good.
is. Yeah.
But I also want to hear about the artful escape. I mean, this looks like an indie game of all indie games.
It is. It's as indie as they come.
Derek,
This might
if you're
be the most
listening-
indie game I've. It's about folk music, so.
Yeah.
Derek,
That's
if
indie
Derek, if
Actually-
you're listening, you need to perk up. All right.
Actually, it's about not doing folk music anymore.
Yeah, actually, it's about not wanting to do folk music.
Yeah,
and
it's about trying to
instead
diverge
wanting
from
to
the
do
hipster
space
path.
opera
Yeah.
prog music. So.
Give me
Yep.
give me the elevator pitch on this one because
I
did
mean,
a few other games to talk.
do you want to take a crack at it? I mean, I've been trying to explain this game all day to people. So.
It's really, really tough to explain it to people. I don't want to say it's style over substance, but there's a whole lot. It's oozing, dripping with style. And it's
Yeah.
about this guy who was like the nephew of a Bob Dylan type of songwriter. And he's kind of living in that shadow, and people in town expect him to live up to that legend. And he's like, well, every folk song I have kind of sucks. And people are telling him that know him. Your folk music just is terrible. So you have to find your own voice. And he's on the journey to kind of become a new person, basically discover a new persona. He's in his own
Trying to
words going to become
escape.
somebody else entirely. Artfully, he's trying to escape
Yes.
his own identity.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the story, but the guy who designed the game was clearly doing a lot of drugs when he did this. I mean,
I'm
It
telling
looks
you,
trippy. It looks
it's
trippy.
literally like a metal prog like album
Yeah.
cover. Like
So is it a
where,
platformer?
like you can
what do
you, I mean, it's like
No.
it's side scroller Life is Strange.
Okay.
yeah.
Like you're walking up to things and interacting with stuff and
Kyle, you
minimal.
haven't really touched it yet, but Oxenfree is what it reminds me of. But it's shot closer up
It's very Oxenfree.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
because
Yeah.
the text bubbles whenever you're talking to people reminds me of Oxenfree. It's like the same
Okay.
colors and text scheme and stuff like that. So
I would say the game is beautiful. Like it's colors
Oh my
really
gosh.
pop and like wow, just wow. you
I'm
know,
at a place now where it's like I'm a little over quarter way through it, and I'm at a place now where I'm about to play my first gig on the outer rims of the freaking galaxy or something.
Yeah,
And it's just
this game gets wild.
the colors are just so
The
freaking
colors,
mind-blowing.
Duke. The colors.
The colors are just I mean, you can sell me on that and the voice acting. If voice acting and style is like there, then I'll play through the rest of the game.
And this
Even if
game
the
has like a
gameplay-
12 minutes level voice acting cast. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
it's all-star, huge cast.
It's
in this
Jason
game, yeah.
Schwartzman, Lena
Mark
Headey,
Strong,
Mark Strong, yeah.
Wow.
Lena Headey, yeah.
Yeah. From she was Cersei, right?
I don't know.
Christy
You may have
Lannister.
heard of her. She played a little role called Cersei.
She was in most
Game of
famously. I think
Thrones.
everybody knows her from Dread.
Yeah, yeah, that movie.
First thing
She
I
was
saw
she
her
was
in
Mama
was
in Dread.
she was the wife in 300. She was awesome.
Yes,
Wow.
100%.
Was.
That was her.
She tells
Yes.
the guy who Dominic West's character pretty much to suck it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I also like she gives Gerard Butler the go ahead to kick the guy.
Yeah.
Remember that?
She
He
does.
Yes,
Yeah.
nods and
you
he
may do
goes,
this.
"I know exactly
Yes,
what to
you
do,"
do.
and kicks
Can
him
I-
in their well that they drink out of.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Die in
Totally
there.
sanitary.
Oh, I didn't
Die.
think about
Oh,
the dead
how we
body.
didn't think about that. Shit.
Good job, Zack Snyder, thinking things through.
He
Let's
always
just kick
thinks
them all in there.
he all thinks everything through.
He
All right,
does.
so there's been
Like
a
Man of
very
Steel, best movie
colorful,
ever.
very colorful week of gaming for Jeff, with True Colors
Yes, lots of color.
Very much so.
and for Kyle. Are you playing this one too, Kyle? So you're playing both.
I am absolutely loving like hateful eight. How would I call it that? The Artful Eight. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I kind of like came to terms really quickly that it's like, hey, this is a story game. Like you're not doing a lot of things.
Yeah,
like,
the gameplay isn't.
the gameplay is Simon Says, so if you
At
like
most,
the game
yes.
Simon,
Yeah.
that's the
do.
gameplay of this game.
It's a good one. I love that game.
But it's like
You're
a
gonna be right at
freestyle.
home.
It's like a freestyle. At a certain point, you have the
Yeah.
option to like freestyle guitar solos
Sure,
using those
absolutely.
buttons, which is kind of fun. But it doesn't.
There's
it's
no
not
depth
challenging.
to it. That's not what you're there for. Like I
Yeah.
felt like immediately this kid who's trying to discover himself, who's living in the shadow of the sun. Like I was like, oh, I'm already interested in this. Like I'm interested in this
Yep.
story. Like
Okay.
I thought it was really compelling. I'm gonna have a great weekend of playing like really
I'm-
feely indie story games.
Dude,
This
I'm
week-
in the middle of this crisis that this performer, or I've been in the middle of it. This songwriter is going through. Like he's like, do
Yeah,
I live in
this
the
must
shadow
really-
of other folk singer songwriters or whatever? And I was trying to do folk until last year or this year, no, last year, whatever. Until I was like, all right, let's just do pop and funk and just cave in, do what everybody else does.
I was
And
gonna say this game must really speak to you.
It does on that level, but there's some space opera crap that goes on that I'm like, okay, this is nothing like my
hey,
trade,
and
but,
guess what?
and
That's
Andy
the stuff
Bernard.
that's where I come in, and I'm like,
Yeah,
That's-
Kyle's like,
yeah.
yeah.
leave the
this is
folk
like if
music,
Kyle and I
dude.
decided to make a game.
Yeah, do the prog music. Yeah, like where like the very first thing he chooses to do is about like I don't know is like
Dude, give me some Coheed and Cambria in here.
I mean
like-
that's kind of what this reminds me of. Like that's who he's trying to be
Yes.
is like this like I don't know. It's super interesting. I like and the things that come and visit him to tell him he has to go on this journey. Like it's he's about to go on a Rush album, like the literally like a Rush album, like where they're talking about space wizards and playing gigs with magical guitars in the galaxy to save the universe and stuff like that. Like
There's
that's like,
there's got to be an in-depth wiki on this eventually of all the
Yeah,
Easter
sure.
eggs from prog bands and
and
stuff.
you just walk around town like wailing, like it's cool.
Yeah.
So if you like that, so, like if you like just like people picking at like 80s like style prog metal or whatever, like the game is just filled with that.
So I love that we're covering the games in the order that we're covering them because we go from the JRPG into some kind of indie side-scrolling platformers to a super indie artful escape, and I want to talk about a bro shooter now, Gears 5.
yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
the
this
I
is
have
a,
so much
this is,
whiplash
uh,
in this transition.
Let's
No,
take
I'm
a
gonna have to
hard
sit this one
left
out.
with some Gears of War. Who's playing Gears of War right now?
Dude, I'm so broed out right now. I'm like, I'm broing so hard, dude.
I
Like,
see
Did you
your
finish
neck muscles
4?
are coming in. I see
Bro,
they're coming in.
Did you finish 4?
yeah, I did. So yeah, I had mentioned on the last episode, I literally was like pretending yelling at Jeff because I had like I was in the boss fight, the last boss fight,
Okay.
During 4. So I finished 4, and then I finished 5 yesterday. This is a great series. It just is. I definitely appreciate the sort of modern amenities that 4 and 5 have. So I do like 4 and 5 more than the first 3.
Same here.
But I appreciate the history there, and I'm glad that I played them because then like sort of like the references and like the surprises that happen in 4 and 5, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like for instance, in 5, there's a location you go to.
Yep.
That's from 2, so that's
Yep.
cool. And
Cool
that
throwback.
ties into the actual lore of like what's going on in that story. Like it's intrinsically tied into that, which is really cool. So it's like, oh, okay, that place serves like a huge purpose. Yeah, the voice acting is excellent, dude. Marcus is probably one of my new favorite like main characters.
I love him.
That dude does not give a fuck. Like
It's
he
true.
just does it. Like there's
True.
actually the so in 5 they introduced F.I.S.T, the with like he has like an Australian accent or whatever, and like like towards the very end, Marcus is like, your name is Foz, right? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, shut the fuck up, Foz. Like just super blunt, and then just continues having a conversation with Baird. And it's like, this guy he does and says whatever he needs to say.
Yep. Did you like the element, since you've played through all the mainline ones now, and you've seen how linear the early ones were,
right?
And what do you think about, especially in 5, when they gave you opportunities to open area-ish in some respects? How do you, kind of like Uncharted did a little bit with,
but like a little bit on steroids, right? Because it's like definitely more open than they did in Uncharted. And I think it makes sense for what's going on.
It does.
And I didn't actually even realize until, again, you go to that location that's from a previous Gears. I'm like, oh, that's what this is. So like, because clearly whatever's going on in this planet, like, because you got like these freaking lightning tornadoes that are like fire lightning tornadoes, and then like now this area that wasn't just covered in ice is now covered in ice. So like, just this planet is being decimated not only by the sort of enemies that then come into 4 and 5. Which I also think is interesting how they kind of like tied those two things together. Because like what I liked, and I mentioned on last episode with 4, was like the mystery of like, well, are they not, like what's going on there? And then when you get into 5, then that kind of obviously then explodes and sort of you're in the thick of it and things are coming.
In the thick of it?
Yes, in the thick of it, and we're halfway there.
And do you like the way, without spoiling what the decision is, do you like the way they set up a decision for you in 5?
So,
do you feel like it was a little forced? What do you think about that?
So I was going to mention that because I think, to me, it seemed kind of like here's like just a really important thing we're just going to make you do all of a sudden that we literally did not have in this entire series whatsoever, except for like, go down the street or go into these buildings instead. Like that was
it was a Mass Effect like decision, but the game doesn't really have those, so it kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, and so then it's like, what? Like, okay, so and they haven't actually said which is like the canon like storyline, so it's like, well, even if the decision I made, it's like, well, then if that's not the canon storyline, then what was the point? Like, I feel like they just should have stuck with like, this is what we wanted to do.
Well, now they've painted themselves at least to a little bit of a corner where they're either going to rely on your save carrying over, or at the beginning of the next game, you get to pick which decision you made. So anyway,
there's a moment at the end if you choose a certain path that it's like. It's like a really it's emotional. It's a
on
pretty
the
emotional
beach there as they're kind of
So it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that's like, I would say continuing into the next one, like carrying over those that sort of like somber vibe of like, okay, well, we had to deal with that and that carries over. So I don't know.
Dan, are you officially, when Gear 6 is announced and it's going to be coming out, are you like, all right, I'm pumped for this one now, I can't wait for the next one?
Okay, yeah, nice. No, definitely. I'm excited. Yeah. I think Coalition took a series that wasn't theirs and actually made it better. Like, sorry, Blazinski. I know that Kyle hates Blazinski, so see, he can jump on here with me. But
yeah, like, Blazinski has been outspoken even more recently about how it was all about politics and George W. and the Middle Eastern war and all that stuff. And people are like, we don't care, man, because your game is not about that now, and it's much cooler for it. It's not trying to...
Well, and I don't think he's smart enough to like make a game about that type of social commentary. So, sorry, Cliff.
Yeah, no, Coalition took something. It's funny because like people have strong opinions with Halo, for example, right? With like 5, like some people don't like 5. Do people mostly like 4? I think they mostly.
I don't know.
4.
I can't get a read on these newer games, man. I think 343 does awesome, and then I'll talk to people and they'll be like, they're the worst, and I'm like, oh, is that what we think about them?
4 was generally not loved by everyone until 5 came out, and then it was more loved by everyone.
Okay.
Like, why couldn't it be more like 4?
Yeah. I think 4 has a revisionist history. Yeah, I think like people hated it when it came out, and then like now that some time's passed, we're like, actually,
I think ODST has revisionist history because when that came out, I remember everybody in my circle was crapping on it.
Same.
And then now it's like 4 and 5 come out, and everybody's like, oh, we should get another ODST. And I'm like,
no,
dude, it's
same
high.
thing
ODST
with
is the
Reach.
Wind Waker of
Yeah.
of this series. So.
Well, it's the same thing with Reach. People really kind of were like, "Why? We don't need this. Who needs this?"
Because that was a
Reach?"
prequel,
And now
right?
people are like, "Oh, that's like the best, easily the best story in the whole Halo franchise." And it's like,
Oh
well,
my God.
and when Reach
Nice
came
Reach.
out, that
Reach,
was my
bro.
favorite one immediately. So I was on board with Reach immediately, but Reach did have that, what you're saying, that like kind of thing too, where it's like, well, I don't think we need that. And then it came
Where
out.
every
It's like,
one
well,
of these titles, except for 1 through 3, are like just
even
So-
3, like when 3 came out, people were like, I don't know, it's pretty disappointed. And now like 3 is actually the best in the franchise. I'm like, what?
I don't know.
I
So
can't
clear.
follow- I
So
can't
clearly,
follow-
there's inconsistencies.
I
With
can't
that.
follow the trends of like
Yeah.
Halo and like
But
what's
this-
liked and what's not.
But this is why I wanted to play Gears first, that series first, because like it just always interested me more. Not even just because it's third person and I prefer that over first person, but I don't know. I just felt like sort of like what was going on looked more interesting than like just big guy in green suit, space stuff. Like it's like, all right, like
The story in Halo is so good, and you need to stop whatever you're doing.
I don't care. I don't care about Master Chief. I don't.
You don't
care.
have to.
I don't
Dude,
like
And he,
sci-fi.
and he wants to
You heard it
have
here
sex.
first.
Yeah,
with,
I mean, you
he
like
wants to have
sci-fi,
sex
like-
with an AI. Like
no,
I don't-
hang on.
That's not
Dan,
even what
hang
it's
on.
about.
You probably were thinking the same thing about Gears till you gave it a shot, and now
No,
you
I
flew
just
through
said I
5
wasn't.
games.
I just said I wasn't. I said I was interested for years.
Yeah, I know, but like, and I know I'm the Gears hater of the pod. Objectively, Halo has the better story and lore. Like, just objectively, like,
There's
just
not enough bro. There's not enough bro.
no.
in
That's the
There's some
thing.
of
It
it.
has just enough not bro. That's
It
the
is
thing.
low on bro. That is
It
true.
is
All right.
low
Low
on
on
bro.
Well,
bro.
for the
Oh,
sake
pack
of
it
time,
up. That's perfect.
for the sake of time, let's do 1 minute on these each because I don't want to leave them out because they're on the list here. Final Fantasy 13. Who in their right mind is playing this game? You got 60 seconds.
So it's a preview.
Explain.
It's a preview. Kyle and I and Jeff are gonna have a debate on the
Jesse,
Chocobo
right?
Central. Sorry,
definitely
yes,
not me.
Jesse. Yes,
yeah, it's
Jesse.
like Jeffson.
The
Jeff's
three,
like,
the three
"I'm
of
out."
us are gonna debate Final Fantasy 13 on Chocobo Central whenever like we get far enough into the game where we're like, all right, we have enough ammo to attack Jesse.
Hey, yeah, friend of the show. Jesse
Spoilers: Final
loves,
Fantasy 10 wins in this conversation. but,
Jesse loves 13, right? So
13 is not the steaming pile garbage of
Eh.
garbage I remember it being. It just isn't. I'm sorry, it's not, you know.
well, I mean, it's been a while. It's not steaming anymore.
However,
No,
actually, you know, for a game that came out as long as it did, it like still looks
gorgeous.
good. You know what I mean?
Gorgeous.
It's just a beautiful game.
Yeah.
I just couldn't care less about almost any character.
Thanks.
Like, I just like
Dude,
like,
I'm sorry.
Lightning, sometimes I'm like, I
Yeah.
get it. You're kind of a badass girl.
But she's like trying to. So they call her
but I'm
the.
mad all the time. I don't
They-
know. I don't really.
They
get
call
it.
her the female Cloud, but like Cloud
No, I
actually
don't get
has
that at all.
depth to him.
Yeah,
like,
but
what
like,
is
she's not
Lightning's
even
depth?
as broody as Cloud. Like she's just kind of a. She's just. can we
She's
say
kind of a
it? She's
bitch.
kind of a
Just say it,
bitch.
Kyle. She's kind of a
like,
bitch.
she's kind of a bitch. I don't know. Like. I know, but I
She's not
get it.
likable.
Like she gets the job done. She does a lot of cool like stuff, and I'm like, you're at least like a capable hero, like at least, you know. But like in terms of depth and like her being like a good Final Fantasy character, I don't know if I'm there for that.
All right, fair enough.
And then like the main like a hero is Snow. I couldn't give a shit less
But
about.
is he though? Is he?
Like I just like he's like, well, I'm a gangster, and like we run gangs, and we don't like we don't like the system. And the second someone goes, you have to work for us, the system's like, you have to work for us. He's like, okay. Like that's his whole arc. He's like totally folds immediately, and I'm like, this is our hero, this beanie wearing idiot. Like
Lightning is the main protagonist. He
I
just calls
get it,
himself
but
the
like
hero.
he is the
you know?
like she sure yeah, but like he's the one who's like on the love journey or whatever. I gotta
Sure,
save my
sure.
The
girlfriend.
love journey.
I gotta
Yeah.
save my like totally underage looking
Yeah,
girlfriend.
my 14-year-old
Yeah,
looking
my 14-year-old
fiance. My
girlfriend.
14-year-old looking fiance. Like, all right.
I don't know. I feel like I'm here for the god machines. Like there's god machines that like
God
are
machine.
ruling the world. Like they're these like robots who are just like at this point has duped all of society into like fighting against each other, and I'm so here for all that stuff. I'll keep on playing it. Now there's more. Now I have Tails out. Like this game's getting shelved like immediately.
Yeah. I've tried starting this game twice over the years, and both times lost interest. So that's just
Yeah.
me.
It's just I'm about to hit the moment where you get into the open world, and that's where I've lost interest twice getting to it. Where I get there and I'm like, don't care. Because
Yeah.
you know what? I actually don't care about the hallway stuff. Like people are like, oh, I don't like Final Fantasy hallway games. I'm like, I don't give it. That doesn't bother me. Like,
yeah, it's possible to do those and do them well. That wasn't my issue.
like Final
It
Fantasy
was,
X still feels like a world. You know what I
it was
mean?
the
Like I
combat.
feel,
I literally could be doing something else and just hit the X button and make my way through everything.
Well, and also with 10, if we're gonna get into it a little bit, which I won't dwell on it too long. 10 has a really good like it's a hallway, but you're also like that's the story. Like you're taking a trek, like a pilgrimage on a road.
Yeah.
So like whereas in this game, like there's no reason for it other than just like lazy game design.
I agree.
So I don't know.
Well, what about this game, Lake?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say. I can even make it shorter than that 60 seconds
Yeah.
that they were talking about Final Fantasy 13.
Thank you.
So if you want to drive around in a mailman van or whatever and deliver mail, I have the game for you?
Okay.
Mail lady,
I don't wanna do
Jeff.
that.
Around a lake, I should say. Mail lady, you are
I
correct. She
can't do
actually
that.
does say that at one point in the game.
Of course.
She better
Or
not.
somebody does. Somebody does.
She
sarcastic.
better not.
I'm pretty sure somebody does. I remember hearing it.
I don't know.
But it's you're in this town that's like kind of on a lake, probably in Colorado because you know all the games are in Colorado. Artful Escape is in Colorado. But you're just driving around and talking to people as you deliver mail, and I thought there would be like some type of sci-fi element or something to it, like aliens are taking mail from people or something. But there's nothing going on except you're just driving around and talking to people, and I'm like, wow.
I at least thought it was going to be a murder mystery, like, and then
It had
Mr.
like a
Jenkins died.
It had a Lifetime movie vibe to me. It has a Lifetime movie vibe.
I thought it was going to be something different, and it's
funny.
Why is he getting mail at her house?
I don't know. It had a boring vibe to me. That's the vibe I got from it. So,
all right. Well,
I'll keep at it a little bit just in case there is like and then she dies at the end. What the hell? But there's probably not. I'm just gonna.
But she's like a big city lady, right? Like that's the thing.
Yeah. She comes over.
I'm gonna go to some town and just deliver mail. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, the two that I didn't list that I am still playing, not much to say about them new, but playing more Crusader Kings 3. I just got intrigued to play that again because I played it a lot last fall and I really liked it. And I'm playing it now. They've updated it a few times since. They've tweaked a few things. It's actually really fun, in my opinion, to skip their preset leaders that you pick, and they'll kind of tell you, like, go through their story and do these things. And it's either easy, medium, or hard. Or down at the bottom, it's select any character you want during this time frame, and it opens up the entire map to you, which is all of Europe, Northern Africa, the Middle East, Asia. It's a huge, huge map. And you pick all the way down to the lowest level of leaders or the highest level of emperor if you want. Or, like I did, you can create your own ruler from scratch. You just pick an area you want to start leading. You start them out. You pick what you want them to be good at, if they're married or not, if they have kids or not, how old they are, and then you go. I really like it. It's very much like a Game of Thrones style. I mean, minus the ice zombies and dragons. But in terms of like the politics and the backstabbing and all that kind of stuff, I really like it. It is very in depth. So you have to, like, it has to be. It's not a game that you would put on a show and kind of half pay attention to. Like, you need to pay attention to it.
Is it like Age of Empires gameplay, or is it simpler? No. Like what? Okay.
No, it's a little bit more like Risk than that, I suppose you could say, because you've got
the way you describe it. It sounds like It sounds like Nobunaga Ambition.
Nobunaga is a good example, is a good comparison. Yep, absolutely. I mean, you've got a fixed map with fixed areas, but it doesn't have to stay in terms of like what area belongs to what kingdom. You can adjust that over time between marrying people off or killing the right ruler or dominating them with either religion or military, however you want to take over. There's lots of different ways to do it. Or if you're really smart, you can set up your kids for success by creating certain relationships, or there's all kinds of things you can put into motion. It's pretty cool. Like, regardless of whether everyone's going to try it, play it, and enjoy it, you have to at least acknowledge the folks that made this game did an incredible job. It's really an amazing game. And I know the other Crusader Kings games were also well loved. I just never played them. But this is on Game Pass on PC, and it's coming to console soon, so you can give it a try.
I'll definitely check it out. I actually can like enjoy these games, but like I know that they take a lot of commitment to
it does
really understand.
Like everything down to like, hey, who do I want to invite to come to my court? Because I'm going to want to marry them off to someone else in my court because of the stats they have. I want their kids to eventually be my chancellor because of this skill. Like it can get down to that granular level, which some people find intriguing. Others are like, dude, you're still talking about this? So,
sure.
The other game I'm playing a lot of this week is Psychonauts 2, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. As far as like cartoony platforming games go this year, Psychonauts 2 is the best one. Sorry, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It's the best one.
Easily, hard agree.
It is. It's just a better
I
game.
think it's barely a statement, but I think you're still brave for saying it. So
Thank you. I do feel brave. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is gonna be. I'm gonna have to acknowledge it for best visuals, no matter what else comes out this year. It's amazing visually, like absolutely stunning. Like it's a great way to show off your PlayStation 5. It really is. I love it. As far as playing it and the characters and the little cutscenes and their kind of Saturday morning cartoon story, it's kind of old. It's kind of been done, and it's not quite doing it for me. Psychonauts 2 has actually made me laugh more than once.
I think that game has such sharp writing that you actually have laugh out loud moments.
So clever
true ones, yeah.
And even the things that you're defeating or collecting or whatever in each level as you're going into each mind, even those are clever. And even the powers that you get, like the way that there's one level, it's sort of early on, where it teaches you how to connect thoughts to each other and what thoughts you connect, whether it's I want to connect money, it's already connected with fear. I want to connect it with risk. And so that way this character now becomes like this gambling addict, for example. So it's just, you can connect these thoughts, which is a really creative idea, and it makes for some good laughs and some cutscenes and dialogue too. So really
just the way that mechanic feeds into the actual way of the mechanics of the world and everything like that. Yep. I feel like it's less gamification and more like world building. It's
absolutely.
I just think it's one of the most clever games that come out in a long time, to be honest.
It is, and it's pretty linear for a while. You get through several levels and a few boss fights before they kind of give you a little bit of freedom to roam. And I'm in that area now where you can first freely roam. And there's actually a surprising number of areas to go. There's a lot of verticality in some levels that I wasn't expecting. And so I'm really, really loving this game. I don't think it's visually better than something like Ratchet and Clank, but I also don't think it's ugly. Playing it on my PC, and I would assume on a Xbox Series S or X that it looks pretty great.
I've tried it on my Coraline, like Tim Burton-y to me. I really dig the visual.
But still
like the art style, I think, is almost like
it's more cooler. Is it Coraline?
Coraline.
Yeah, it's more like a Leica studio type.
But it's a style. It's
mixed
not,
with Tim Burton.
It's really cool. Visuals. And I think some people are assigning the fact that they don't like the style to that. And it's actually fantastic visuals. The details and the little animations. It looks really nice. It's just style might not be for everybody.
It's kind of got that. Like, there's like an icky. I don't know. Like that first level even is like you're running around like with like tooth doors and stuff like that. There's kind of like this, but it's not like grotesque. It's just like. Yeah. There's kind of, I don't know, a weird icky feeling to all of it too, like a Tim Burton movie, you know.
Yep.
But
he's a weird perverted man.
Yep. I highly recommend this game. I see why it's gotten the scores that it's gotten from folks who have actually finished it. I think it's amazing. It's going to be up there in my favorite games of the year. I don't know where, but it's going to be up there in that list somewhere.
So too.
I
really want to beat it because I want to be able, and I feel like this will be replicated in some of you guys. The opinion will be that it should be probably up there for best story.
I want to be able to champion it hard at the end of the year. So my priority.
So that's why I want to beat it. Yeah, I really do want to beat that game.
There are some actually pretty compelling, for as silly of a game as it is, as Nickelodeon and whatever it gets at times. It also, like, you actually feel for these characters a little bit. You're like, oh, what's going to happen? Like, this is actually it's actually a mystery. Like, I'm curious how this is going to play out.
The first game was really similar too, where you're just like, oh, this guy went through a lot of trauma, and like we're kind of sorting that out together right now.
They bring back a lot of callbacks from the first game too. I won't say too much more about it. When it first opens up, you are reunited with some characters, and it's pretty cool. But anyway,
nice.
Awesome.
All right, if there's anything that you're watching that you want to highlight, I definitely have at least one thing I want to highlight. Anything that you're watching before we go into some headlines that you want to?
I just wanted to. It's freaking weird, dude.
Oh my god, you haven't even gotten to the.
It's freaking weird. The Leftovers.
Oh, okay.
You have no idea. If you're just in season 1, you have no idea how weird it's gonna get.
So weird.
It's so freaking good.
I mean, it's only 3 seasons long, so it's but I'm like, dude, get to the point. Like, what happened? Like, what's going on?
Well, you've never seen Lost before, because that's what you're watching.
This is also what's his name? Is it Justin? What's his name?
Trudeau or
Justin Theroux is the star of it.
Trudeau is the Canadian.
Trudeau is the Canadian PM.
Yeah. There you go.
Justin Theroux, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
He has got another show on Apple TV called Mosquito
Coast. Yeah.
And also, while intriguing, has a very much like, all right, we're like 3 episodes in. Can you say something about what actually is going on
an
here.
entire season passes, and I'm into 2 episodes on season 2, and it's still like, all right, like, are we gonna like kind of get to like a point? Like,
it's not about the mystery. It's about what happened in the aftermath.
So this is like The Walking Dead.
It's like Lost, where it's a character, like it's like a character piece, right?
Or like Walking Dead, where it's just like, so we just lived with zombies. It's like, no, get to the point.
Nothing's like Walking Dead, because Walking Dead's one of the worst things to ever be created ever.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy because it started out so well.
It did. Season 1 was.
Yeah.
And even the season with the governor was like good
as
stuff.
As soon as Shane was gone, the show went down the crap.
So after season 2,
rubs head.
Yeah, I was missing all the head rubbing for sure.
I wanted to mention that I finally got around to watching Nobody. Last weekend I did some traveling to see some family.
Fun movie, dude.
So Southwest Airlines had some movies to choose from, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen this yet. And that kind of like, it was on my radar, and then it kind of fell off the radar because it's not on any streaming services yet. I'm sure it will be. So I finally watched it on the plane. Loved it. I already love Bob Odenkirk. I've loved everything that he's in. I love
that one. Okay, I was trying to remember.
Yeah,
I was
the
like,
Bob
which one is
Odenkirk John Wick movie.
John Wick, yeah.
But it's
Old
different.
John Wick,
It's different enough, I would say.
Saul
Absolutely.
Wick? Is it Saul Wick?
It's sort of. I love him, man. He's great, and he can in this case playing a guy who's. I won't say too much about it. But he's the reason it says nobody is because he's like, they're like, who are you? I'm nobody. Like that's the whole premise is he's kind of this down on this luck dude, and then all kinds of crazy stuff happens.
He's a schlub. Yeah,
and it's pretty cool.
A perceived schlub.
It's pretty cool.
Which, by the way, he recovered from his heart attack. He had a heart attack, a couple months ago?
That's the interesting thing is that like he just did this very demanding role, which he did a lot of his own stunts for, and then like and then actually have a really big heart attack like on the set of Breaking Bad, which is not an action oriented show,
Better Call
obviously.
Saul, right?
Better Call Saul. Thank you. Excuse me.
Yep.
So he's doing okay.
He's doing good. Yeah.
It's funny that I had also decided to rewatch John Wick because I had never seen the third one. I watched John Wick 1. And then I rewatched 2 because I didn't remember it very well. And then I watched 3. I actually just finished 3 today during my lunch hour. I don't recommend.
Careful.
I don't recommend binging these movies.
Okay. Yeah. I'm here for that.
I like all 3 of them. And I am here for all the lore, the Continental stuff, the whole Assassin's Guild, the markers, and I love it. It's very Hitman 47, Agent 47, whatever. Like, I love it. I love this stuff. So I'm okay with kind of everyone kind of stares each other's down when they. By the way, there's several moments where both the good guys and bad guys had a huge window to kill the other one, but they had to have the stare off, so they didn't.
It's a movie.
But I like that about it. I like the kind of.
It's corny.
Yeah,
in the right ways.
Spaghetti Western stare off moments that they have, and I'm down with that. I found that by the time I ended the third one, I was like, I shouldn't have binge watched those so close together, because it is for as fun as each of them are, and Keanu Reeves is just the man. But if you separated it by a few years, it's like, oh, I missed this. When you're watching 2, you're like, oh, some creative takes on some of the stuff we already saw in the first one. If you watch all 3, it's like 6 hours of ridiculous guns that never run out of bullets.
People being shot in the head over and over again.
Crazy. There was actually a couple of scenes where during the second one, I think, I counted the shots, especially when he was within the same frame. Like, how many bullets are they suggesting
Tim,
that this
You just didn't see him switch the clip. You just didn't see it.
He's that fast, Tim.
Yeah,
he's the one.
Right. That's a good
yeah,
one.
he is the
He's
one.
He's like Drax. He's so fast I didn't even see him.
I didn't even see him.
Didn't even see. He was standing so still I didn't even see him. All right. Anyway, I love these movies, and I'm really excited for Chapter 4, which I know they're filming, and I think 5 has also been announced. So
and the Continental TV
I'm
show,
here for
which is now a 3-night special, like movie.
But I mainly wanted to bring this up that I'm rewatching these because Willem Dafoe's in the first one. I totally forgot this.
Yes.
So there's our Willem Dafoe.
Makes me feel like
we did it, guys. We're
well, you gotta bridge over with the Matrix. The new Matrix was a Resurrection trailer, dude.
Right.
Didn't see it. Don't know what
There's
you're
a new
talking
Matrix.
Didn't see it. Is that happening?
Yeah, is that a thing?
Did you guys take the red pill? Did you take the red pill? That's why you took
the Matrix.
Oh no, man, it doesn't feel real to me.
Listen, before we get to that real quick, I wanted to mention, if you haven't watched it and if you've been keeping tabs on the video game industry over the last several years, then you know the name Philip Mewson, who had this really oddly fast rise to prominence in the video game, I guess you could call it journalism industry. IGN gave him a very visible role as their Nintendo guy out of nowhere. And he was a guy that really all he had built up was a handful of videos on YouTube about Nintendo Switch stuff that had some pretty decent editing, but he never struck me as someone who was a great communicator or speaker. That proved to be true while he hosted NVC. I always found him to be pretty hard to listen to. He's a bad
Well,
host.
especially who was the guy before him who was like really great? He went on. He
Not
left,
Rich
but
George. It was. I'm blanking on his name.
oh, we don't have to dwell on it. But I like that guy. He had
He was
big
much
shoes
better.
to fill. Yeah,
He was much
he had
better.
big shoes to fill.
But even taking into account, oh, he's probably nervous. I remember months into it going like, I think he's just bad at this. Like, it's one thing to I get nervous sometimes, and
Yeah.
all of us do, and we kind of talk too fast or whatever, and we kind of smooth out as we get comfortable. He never seemed comfortable, and now that he's been interviewed by Colin Moriarty on the Sacred Symbols podcast, I think we get some insight as to why he never got comfortable. I think this dude, despite what he says in this interview, I think he knew what he was doing was wrong the entire time and was nervous
Sure.
about getting caught. I think he lived in a state of being terrified of getting caught. But if you listen to the
Totally
interview, take it for what you think it is. I don't think he's still being totally honest. He, just for a summary, if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, it's a long conversation. He basically says, I didn't know what it was, but I do now. And now I understand that plagiarism is wrong and what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't buy that. But that being said, it is a very interesting conversation, and we always give props to Colin Moriarty. He's got his flaws, but I think he is a strong interviewer. He did his homework, and he did a really good job with this interview. So I recommend it if you're interested in that. All right. Matrix 4 trailer.
I just wanted to do a shout out real quick. Ted Lasso is 8 episodes in this season, and if you're not watching it yet, the hell's wrong with you? That's it.
I don't have Apple Plus. That's
People are really down on this season, but I'm loving it.
Dude,
This
today's episode was just, I mean, as of the time of this recording, today's episode was just, it was something else, man. It was a really special episode. Yeah.
Yeah, Ted Lasso is I think it's
big
a special
Scrubs
show.
fan. So excited to watch the show. Like it's so high up on my list of things to get to. So
It's really, really good. All right. It's also a great one to binge, by the way. If you've missed it, don't worry about it.
I'm
It's
gonna
such
have 2 seasons. So like
it's
really
such a fun one to just fly through because you don't want to you want to see what happens next, and you love the characters, and it's so charming. Love it. All right, Matrix 4 trailer came out.
Dude, Matrix.
So we're moving on to headline stuff, of course.
Talk about resuscitating.
Man.
Everyone's making all the jokes about the John Wick and whatever else because Keanu Reeves looks exactly like he does on the
Well,
set.
he was filming both at the same time.
Yeah, he's filming both at the same time, man.
Yes.
Remember, these movies were supposed to come out the same day, once upon a time.
That's
John
hilarious.
Wick 4 and this movie. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
We were going to celebrate it as Keanu Day, yeah.
Yeah. But COVID ruined that.
Which is funny
Yeah.
between his work on Cyberpunk, his work on John Wick, and now on Matrix. It's just like he's just going with that same look, like the shoulder length hair that kind of falls on his face sometimes,
Beard.
and the beard that isn't really like a full, like on his cheeks, it cuts off at a weird spot, but it's the Keanu beard. We all
Yeah.
kind of love
Yeah.
it.
And to be honest, he kind of needs it because did you see Bill and Ted, the new one?
No,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk
He
about
looks
that.
so weird.
He does
looks
not
so
look
weird.
like that.
It looks
he looks
weird,
like how he
right?
does
Like,
with the beard.
grow it back, grow it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, dude's what, in his 50s? I mean, come on.
He's
It's,
like in almost, I think, late 50s. I think
Is he?
he's-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Mid to late
70s.
I
50s.
looked this up, and I think he's 56.
Okay. Yeah.
Dude,
mid to late 50s.
that original trilogy of Matrix, and like, say what you will about the second and third one, because apparently
Say the
people
right thing, Dan.
people
the right
hated
thing.
those for some reason, but they're so anime, and I freaking love it, dude.
Yes.
Like literally, the last
Yes.
fight of the third one is Dragon Ball Z. It's just straight up Dragon Ball Z, and I loved it.
And
loved
then
it
the mech stuff before that is super anime too.
Yes,
like
It
a-
is.
like a
It's
cyberpunk
Gundam,
fight.
yeah.
And it's so awesome. The scene where the robots are like tearing the guy's flesh, like as he's like firing up at him, like
So Jeff and I's first
Oh.
podcast was a podcast called There Is No Spoon, and it was like a Matrix
Ooh.
fan like we're mega fans. Like
yeah,
you know,
I love
we're-
those movies.
Well, the peak of fandom that you could get about like Matrix and like the sequels that people tend to hate or whatever. Like
Interesting.
Jeff and I are at the top of that list. you
Yeah,
know,
that's
like,
it's honest. It's my favorite trilogy of all time. I'm gonna be honest.
You know
with
what's
Yeah,
what's interesting is
I
I've
mean-
watched the first one probably like 10 times. I've
That's
only
it?
seen this. Yeah.
Rookie numbers. Rookie numbers.
rookie numbers,
Oh,
bud.
guys,
I
I
watch
be-
them once a year.
Ask Derek. I rarely replay games or rewatch stuff. I move
Oh,
on
That's
to
okay.
the next.
big. That's huge.
Yeah,
Okay.
Guy,
Let's
he
keep
has
it in the same
37
world.
kids. I mean,
So
come
for
on.
me, when I rewatch something, it's a big deal. So
I'm here
okay,
for it.
So this is one of those ones, like, to me, I've rewatched the same level. Maybe it's not 10. I don't know what it is. The same level of like Good Will Hunting, Gladiator. Like, it's up there with my favorite movies that if it's on, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and watch it. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm surprised.
I love
the movie, but I'm surprised Good Will Hunting's up there. It's a little bit of a heavy movie. That's a really good movie, though.
Yeah, but I'll rewatch that a million. I love Good Will Hunting. Okay.
Oh, it's a great movie.
That being said, I only watched the sequels one time each in theaters when they came out. Was excited about both of them. Remember feeling generally fine about them. Like, I liked the way the story ended. I was like, that was pretty cool, pretty epic. Yeah. I also remember, as I looked back on them, feeling like if they never made those, I also would still just love The Matrix as its own standalone finished story.
So that was what
it's too anime for you, Tim.
So
I will say
I don't remember it feeling anime. I just remember it feeling like, you know, this didn't feel necessary. That's how it felt to me. But for me, I'm not a mega fan. I haven't watched it. When did these come out? It's been 20 years. Maybe?
Let me tell you, Tim. There is a scene in 2. There's a highway scene that they actually built. You know what I mean? You know, of course you know it. You know,
I love that scene.
It awesome. Literally defines like action to me. Like that sequence. Like it's like if you're, hey Kyle, make like a top 10 greatest action sequences all. It's in the top 5 for me.
That's
easily
totally fair.
You know,
because it starts in the mansion where they're like pulling like weapons off the wall.
God,
and he's like fighting 100.
Yeah,
and like it never quits.
The garage. It goes down to the garage.
Moves directly into the garage, onto the highway into the. It is 30 minutes of the greatest action you'll ever see filmed.
Dude, I forgot it's that long. Oh
that when people go, well, I don't know, I don't really like the sequels. I'm like, were you not there? Like, no matter how you feel about the story or like where characters went, there's 30 minutes of that movie that's undeniably the greatest action ever created and perceived on scene.
I worked at Blockbuster when that came out, and I remember being the one going in there gushing about this movie, and everybody else is like, no. Yeah. And then they pause and go, but the two semis crashing into each other was really cool. I'm like,
of course it was.
Of course it was. Everything else was before.
I don't understand why people didn't like those movies. I just don't. I don't get it.
VS shoots an Escalade with his Glock 9 fully on it, and while he cuts the tires of it with a katana sword in a trench coat, and we're all going to talk about how those are not good movies. We're all going to sit around and talk about how they're not good movies. That's fine. I'm fine with it.
The ghost phases into a truck, and they're having
a knife fight
in the front seat and back seat while driving.
Belt and CDs and we're gonna talk about this is not a good scene. We're not having fun here right now.
So imagine all of that, right? But with now today's technology, doing a 4th movie, like it's gonna be bananas, dude.
Oh my God.
Although I am concerned.
I wanted to say this before we talk about 4 real quick. When it comes to the parts 2 and 3, what was it? Reloaded and
Revolutions.
Yeah. When it comes to those movies, I do think that it's valid for folks to say I liked the first one more.
Of course,
I think everybody in the world likes the first.
Right. That's, and I think we all agree on that. Yeah. But I do think, just like when some folks, and our buddy Derek is guilty of this too, usually it's because he's trolling, when folks just say, oh, the other 2 were bad, or they were trash, or they were awful, that's just dumb. Like, that's just a dumb take. It's like, it is. Obviously they're not bad movies. Like, we talked about this with like the high production value video games. It's like, you can't say objectively this is not one of the best games. That was visually, action wise, and honestly even story, character, writing wise, they were really impressive movies. I just remember my feeling being like, I don't know if I needed those. Like, I didn't hate them. I actually did like them. I recommended to folks, you should see it. It's pretty cool. But they didn't stick with me. The first one
kind of ends like in a way that feels like it kind of closes, right? Like the first one sort of.
The first one was, I had never seen anything like it.
Yeah,
it was like mind.
I feel like the first movie was an awakening for a lot of people to think.
Yeah.
More philosophically about things. So like when people talk about like, it's a cool action movie. It's like, yeah, but it was also like a zeitgeist awakening for,
Absolutely.
I don't know, being woke, which has been a term that's been completely hijacked
like, what
these
if we
days.
take the Truman Show but make it way cooler?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like there was a lot, Donnie Darko. There's a lot of movies coming out around this time that were just like, they're very cerebral, and like I feel like this was a gate that was opening to society to, like, I don't know, think about bigger philosophical questions.
Also, like the machines, you know, enslaving humans, kind of like with Terminator, machines destroying mankind, like that sort of thing. Like, you know.
So
it's a cyberpunk
I wanted to clarify that.
story,
I think most folks are either in the. I think most people are going to live in that. Like, I didn't hate them, but they're also not my favorite. I think they're fun. They're good. They're good action movies with some incredible sequences. Overall, as movies, they're not my favorite. But I do think the people who just flat out say they're bad, they're lying. They're just trying to troll you. Matrix 4 trailer, from my perspective, as a non-super fanboy of the series, I like the first movie and I like the second too. I'm just not a mega fanboy. I thought this trailer looked amazing. Like, they are setting us up, I think, for what looks to be a pretty incredible story. But you guys love the Matrix way more than I do. So outside of me saying I liked it, it looked cool. What do you think?
I only have one point to make.
Make it. Yeah.
I only have one point to make. I am concerned about, since Keanu is older. Yeah, I mean, he like really like just kind of like with the first 3 movies, or the original trilogy, he really like focused on like learning martial arts and like doing it right and doing it fast and fluid. Like, he's older now. I don't know if he's gonna move as quickly.
Have you seen John Wick?
Well, actually, you know what? I haven't seen the second or the third one. I'll be honest. I haven't.
Well,
watch him.
guess
They're
what?
good.
He's quicker.
Dude.
He knows more martial arts now at this age than he's ever his entire life.
But he's still fast.
He's
Like,
in the best shape of his
Dan,
life.
there's a fight scene in the
He
third one.
He is the absolute action star of our lifetime right now.
Okay,
And yes,
okay.
he's approaching 60. Yeah, he is
There-
older.
There's
But
a fight
like
scene
the
in the
guy
third one where
lives like martial arts now. Like
He's such a perfectionist with his physical acting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
there's a
doubt
fight scene in the third one where
any of his
they
capabilities.
make sure that you don't have any doubt that it's him, because they keep his face within the shot.
Okay.
They make sure they don't keep cutting away where it's like, oh, there goes a stuntman again.
He beats like SEALs on that like shooting course that like you see online all the time, where he's like,
Okay.
look, he's
Well,
training
no, I've
for
seen
John
that.
Wick.
I'm saying
Yeah,
the actual
like
just straight up
he,
martial arts. Like, that's
the martial
I
art
want
that
him-
like he knows all that stuff, you know.
That
And
being
like
said,
from
he also-
Wing
I want the
Chun
speed,
to
though.
like
I want
Brazilian
speed.
jiu-jitsu to
Yeah.
I mean,
Actually,
hey man, he's got it, dude. Like,
But
that
I
guy's
will
not
say
going-
this: in John Wick, he's almost always gravely injured, and so the way that he kind of runs with a little bit of a limp and stuff, that all works. And so I wonder if in the Matrix they'll have him be injured a lot. Who knows?
I wonder that too. Yeah, that's
They'll just have him fly everywhere. Like once
yeah. There you go.
he
He'll be on
rediscovers
Myers.
who he
Go
is.
ahead. You
He'll be
guys
on
go.
Myers, yeah.
I just want him to move quickly with his kung fu.
He'll
that's
move
all.
quick. I like that's one thing I'm completely not worried about at all.
Yeah.
Like, that will be so.
My
perfect,
only
I think.
concern is story and why we're
Yeah,
back.
my concern
Yeah.
is that there's one Wachowski back, and did we get the right one? That's my concern.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, they've always worked as a pair for everything, always, and now we're getting one of them, and I don't know which one the talented one is. Maybe they're both talented.
Yeah,
maybe
it's true.
I'm being a dick right now. I don't know, but like,
It's cool to see Carrie-Anne Moss back in the action there.
Yeah,
she
too, right?
looks
yeah.
so. Whenever they're shaking hands, I'm like,
Yeah.
y'all are in your 50s. Like y'all look stunning to me. Like y'all,
Yeah.
they both look great to me.
Life
Great
goals
also.
right there.
Chemistry's still there too.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
Which
yeah.
is
And
crazy
then-
because Keanu having chemistry with anybody is it's a tough feat.
Remember, we all used to hate Keanu in the 90s. We're like, this guy
Yeah.
is like a charisma
Guy's a-
vacuum. He
a
sucks,
brick wall.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it just recently in recent
He's
years that he's
breathtaking
become
now.
the mascot of like
He's
of
breathtaking.
righteousness and everything good.
Well,
Like
that's
that's
because
very
they were trying to put him in like some rom-coms here and there, like At First.
were.
was it At First
the
Sight.
Lake House. Right?
Lake House,
Lake
yeah.
House, yeah.
And it's like, you know
Feeling
what?
Minnesota or whatever the hell that one was called in the
Nope.
mid-90s.
Just put him in action. movies.
But also he's had some pretty like intense hardships in his life. So like some of those roles probably would like really maybe kind of like hit him hard. I
Yeah,
don't know.
sure,
But his wife died in a car accident, right? It wasn't like
Oh,
Yeah,
is that
no,
right?
Yeah, I didn't know
he's
that.
got a pretty like
Yeah.
sad boy life. So
yeah.
I feel for it.
Well, if you're listening and you haven't looked up the Matrix 4 trailer or somehow have missed it, it's crazy. Go
So
watch
good.
it. Looks
I had
interesting.
insanely high expectations, and they were all completely blown away. So
It's gonna be a
Yeah,
fun-
I'm so stoked for young Morpheus and to see how the hell that happened.
Yeah. I have a
yeah.
feeling they're keeping the canon ending of the video game, and this is like a new version of Morpheus.
Yeah, that's what
Like,
everyone's
he did
saying,
die, you know.
He's
and
like he's a
this is-
program.
As
like
long as
or-
they
Maybe,
explain it.
yeah.
As long as they explain it,
and the
'cause most
concept
people haven't
art
played the
and
video
when you press the blue pill on the site, you see Morpheus being created like in the machine world. Like,
well, in the original
Oh,
one,
yeah,
they
yeah.
said that there's different. I mean, there's the different iterations of the Matrix, right?
well,
So
this would be the 7th. We're on the 7th now.
sure. So
Well,
No.
I don't know. They didn't destroy it at the end of Revolutions. They came to a.
They did come up, but like at the
But
end,
they
of
did,
it,
like, a
there's new
refresh, right?
At the new and like
They
even
just
in the
deleted
trailer,
the
they
virus,
show a new.
which was Smith.
It's not so grimy and weird. Like everything's kind of more like light and
Oh,
like,
Sunny.
yeah.
Yeah, they
yeah,
filmed it
yeah.
in San
So like
Francisco.
this is
for crying out
definitely a
loud.
new version of it that they've created like via the piece. I think. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, there's
we
got to have
obviously
been
don't
a
know.
few software updates. There's got to have been a few.
There's been a
Software.
couple
Everybody's
on
on
cell
zip
phones.
files
Software.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. And if you have HBO and don't want to go to the theater, it's going to be on there as well. But this seems like a theater watch if you have any opportunity to
Merry
get to a big
Christmas.
screen. But
Kyle and I have
This
already
one.
decided we're going to see it in the theater, and then we'll go home and watch it like right after that.
of course.
All day. It'll be
See,
on
I
repeat.
do
be an
think
all-day
that's
thing.
cool though. People who they want to go see it in the
Yeah.
big screen,
Yeah.
then you can rewatch at home. I think that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I can do my deductions.
I'm going to quote the crap out of this like I do with the first 3 movies.
Oh,
I am just.
man. I hope Neil Patrick Harris only talks in clips.
Dude, Neil Patrick.
Did
I
I
completely
trigger you?
forgot
I'm
about
already
that.
quoting it.
Yeah. Did I trigger you?
Or he
Neil
says
Patrick
something
Harris
like that.
and is
Are you
it
triggered
John,
by this? I think
is
he
it
says.
Jonathan Groff? Is that his name from
Yeah,
Mindhunter?
from Mindhunter. Yeah.
Frozen.
Oh, from Hamilton.
Hot take.
King
I think he's
George?
the main bad guy. Hot take. That's my hot take.
Yeah, and from Hamilton. Okay. Couple things I want to cover here before we talk about the Sony State of Play to wrap things up. There's a rumor right now, and it seems pretty legitimate, that all the buzz around the remaster of Alan Wake is a precursor to the fact that Alan Wake 2 has actually been greenlit.
God, I hope so.
I feel like that fits with previous like Remedy leaks too, where it's
Yep.
like we're doing a sequel to a beloved franchise, and everyone's like Control, and it's like it's probably Alan Wake.
And the
Yeah.
DLC, right? So
So it
Yep, and
sounds
the
like
DLC.
it sounds like that's been officially greenlit. I don't know if it's a combination of how Control did, how the DLC did, or how Alan Wake has been selling as it's been re-released and now with the remaster buzz around it. But anyway, that's kind of cool. Alan Wake was a very interesting game.
They did say they were going to do a Control sequel eventually, right?
They
I
did,
thought-
yeah.
okay, I
In
thought
that
so.
statement, they said that yeah, Control 2 was happening.
I saw
Cool.
some footage of that game that Jeff told me about, that this AEW wrestling game that's being made by some of the same
Ukes.
who were
Ukes.
responsible for No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000 and some of these. Kyle, did you leave? Did we lose
No,
Kyle?
I think he's just
Oh, okay,
hit his
cool.
camera and
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, but they had some new footage that came out because they had already shown a little bit of footage of he fighting like a green character, basically. But
yeah, it's
now they
super
have-
alpha footage. Yeah,
But now they have footage that's relatively new, whether it's actually 2 fully kind of designed wrestlers that are fighting and throwing each other off the ropes. And even though it looks more modern and faster than I remember, it does certainly give me that No Mercy
Yeah.
gameplay vibe.
it's an arcade vibe. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm really
Yeah,
digging
so
it.
it's
I hope they
Ukes.
land it.
Ukes is a developer who used to do the 2K games before they switched to whoever the hell is doing it now.
Yeah.
And Ukes also did all the early like SmackDown versus Raw, whatever it was, SmackDown, Know Your Role, those type of early PlayStation games.
Yeah.
That people really liked at that time. But the creative director, or at least he's giving input, is the director from No Mercy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so yeah. Dude, AEW, just want to give them a shout out because they have just been killing it. They were snatching up all the free agents that are big names, at least according to nerdy fans like me. So they are appointment viewing now, and I mean I feel like the buzz is just going to get stronger and stronger for them.
Yeah, people are loving AEW right now, but that game did look like it's going to be fun. So I'm
it's going to be
that.
fun and arcadey. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, same here. Another rumor before we get into State of Play is that the Twisted Metal game potentially is in development to coincide with the
What?
upcoming TV show. There's some rumors floating around about that right now.
is Jaffe involved?
Wait, there's a TV show?
Yeah. Will
Wow.
Arnett, I think, is involved with producing, maybe even
What?
starring in it.
What?
I was going to say this feels more like a Gerard Butler thing.
Oh my gosh.
SC2.
Fits so well in a Twisted
Gamer.
Metal type.
So anyway, that'd be interesting if that's actually happening because it doesn't seem like Jaffe's involved because I think he would have said something.
Right, yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, Jaffe say something? No.
I don't think Jaffe's in game
Jaffe's
development
never
anymore.
been outspoken a day in
he's
his
got
life.
what some folks might call a big mouth.
Yes, he does.
Sony State of Play aired this week, and it was fantastic. So let's go down through some of these announcements that they made. I had a blast watching this because it went from kind of like, oh, pretty good to, oh, this is a little boring to, oh my word, everything is happening. So
Yeah, everything's happening at the same time.
that
yeah.
was the roller coaster I was on. It was kind of like at the mid level, like not great, but not bad. And then it kind of went to, oh, this is getting a little boring to, what's
We were
happening?
we were all chatting together, and it was lively, to say the least.
It got lively, definitely. So Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic made a showing. We have an official teaser trailer now. Of course, it is very much just a teaser trailer, which
See you
doesn't
in
necessarily,
2028.
it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a long way away, but it probably means
I
it's a long
don't feel
way
like
away.
it's anywhere close.
In
to
a
be
year far, far away.
But the important news, there's a couple pieces of important news. It is actually titled Knights of the Old Republic Remake, and they clarified we're rebuilding this thing. So
Yeah.
There is no remastering, sharpening up the old jagged edges, or smoothing out the jagged edges. They're actually rebuilding this game. And for folks who are fans of this, and I did try playing this a few years back, like, all right, let me see what all the hullabaloo's about. It doesn't age super well as a game that you play. Like the combat, I don't think ages very well. The story's great.
Oh, Kyle's mad.
Sorry, Kyle. All right, buddy. But we'll see what happens. Actually, was going to ask Kyle if you're still there, buddy. What are your thoughts on this?
Do we think the combat is going to be still trying to do turn-based, or hold on?
Oh, he joined.
Yep. No, that all seemed like it was like totally part of y'all's like Kyle's mad thing, but no, I totally crashed.
Kyle, do we think it's still going to be turn-based, or do you think maybe they're going to go maybe even like a Final Fantasy VII route? Final Fantasy VII Remake route, something like that.
I don't think the combat's gonna be much different at all. If I had to take a guess.
Okay.
Tim, you're right. This is one of my favorite stories told of all time. I literally cannot replay this game.
It's tough to go back.
I literally can't. Yeah, like I tried to go back. I got an Xbox Series S like back in January. The very first thing I downloaded because I already owned it. I was ready to play it. I got like 2 hours into it and I go, this is literally not fun to play. And I love BioWare and hey guys, I love Star Wars. I don't know if you know. But like these are like
fun fact.
Yeah, fun facts about Kyle. And like I literally can't go back and play that game. It needs it needs a re-release. It needs a remake. So it needs upgrade. It need upgrade mechanics, like it needs those things.
It was cool after the show. They had some interviews and a little bit of a deep dive, almost like Nintendo's done in the past with some of their stuff. Like with Metroid Dread, they did the trailer, and then afterwards they did a long kind of Treehouse Live thing. Yeah. So this wasn't quite to that level of in-depth. Like they weren't playing the game, of course, but they did talk to the director of the development team that's working on it. So that was cool. Project Eve got announced. We were all making jokes about what is this? Is this like a Bayonetta spin-off of some kind? Is it?
This has been shown before. This has been shown before.
Project Eve. I didn't connect the dots to this until I saw the title. I was like, this sounds familiar. I think we've seen it. But yeah, it's basically a Bayonetta-looking action game.
Nier,
it's like a sci-fi like Bayonetta. Yeah,
it looks pretty cool.
I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, looks great.
By the way, I missed some of the biggest news about Star Wars. Outside of the fact that it's being rebuilt, is that it's going to be a console launch exclusive for PS5. It'll be on PC. But it's at the very least, we know it's a console launch.
I even heard Sony's consulting on it.
Suck it, Xbox.
They're like they've got like there's going to be a lot of like Sony involvement in the development.
So this is interesting for a whole bunch of different reasons. One of the biggest ones is I'm pretty sure this was only on Xbox originally.
Xbox and PC only. Yep.
Yeah. So kind of flipping the script on that one. It's a pretty big deal.
I'm pretty sure this developer has only done mobile games, so
that's
everyone like maybe take a little bit of a breath, including myself. I have to remind myself sometimes.
But were they good mobile games? Okay,
was it like Freeze?
I remember looking it up and going like, "You picked them?" It screamed of like Cyber Connect being chosen for like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm like, you picked the Naruto guys for that?
I would rather pick Cyber Connect for the Star Wars game than a mobile.
Yeah, I don't know if I can go that route. Yeah,
I think you could.
I like those Naruto games too. They're fun. I don't even watch the anime. I think they're fun, and I think they make good games. We talked about Azura's Wrath the last episode, but like, sometimes I feel a little weird about like how much money people are throwing at developers who have no right.
I think this
making something so big.
They're called Aspire, right?
Yeah,
I think that's what they're called. So we'll see how they do. Hopefully they deliver on what they're. I mean, the hopes are high. Money is clearly being sent their way. Let's just think positively for the moment until we see otherwise. I feel
more positive than I am negative. So.
Tiny Tina's Wonderland's got another trailer. This game does look like a lot of fun, but now that we know, we know it's coming in March, just like every other game ever made. Apparently, is coming out in February, March.
Right.
But Tiny Tina's Wonderlands I'm now at the point where I'm like, okay, stop showing new trailers for this game.
Yeah.
There's only been two, right?
This is only the second one, though, right?
No, they've shown a few different.
They've shown Deathloop more than they've shown Tiny Tina.
This is like I'm pretty sure this is only the second trailer for this game.
I think they did an in-depth gameplay or something with this. There was more info shown for this. I could be totally thinking of a different game, but you're right bringing up Deathloop. I think Deathloop about 5 trailers ago.
Yeah.
Too many trailers.
Yeah.
So I bring this up because I'm kind of like, I don't think that we need much more on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
No,
No,
we don't.
especially after
Because-
let's just say this is the second or third. We don't need another trailer after this
Right.
one.
I think we're good. I think we're good. Maybe start promoting it again. A month or two out. I get that from a marketing standpoint, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we as gamers, your hardcore audience doesn't
You
really
know
need
what Borderlands is, right? Yeah, it's that with dragons. So
Yeah.
I
does
don't
look
know how
fun.
much more you can
It
show.
does look
this.
really fun. But
Well, and I would
Baby-
like some of the
Baby
enemies
Metal.
to be surprises. Like, I don't want you to show every damn asset you have, before the game comes
Exactly.
out.
2 words for Jeff. Baby metal.
Baby
That's
Metal
it.
is definitely part of the
Don't
soundtrack
care.
here.
Sounds like it's terrible.
You
It's
said
not.
terrible.
The game formerly known as Project Athia, which I think learned, I forget when it was we learned it's called Forspoken. Was that this year we learned that?
Yeah.
It's like
Maybe a
Forspoken.
Squares event or something.
Yeah. Something like that.
We did see a new trailer that I wasn't really sure what it was at first. I thought it might be yet another Marvel game. Then we'll get that later, because of just the character and the conversation and the modern day
Yeah.
setting. I thought like,
Yeah,
oh,
it
is
was
this
an origin. Yeah. It
like,
was
what
like
is
the
this
very,
a
very beginning.
Marvel?
Aren't you guys cute? I could tell it was Forspoken. You
I
guys are cute.
I had no idea.
You guys are
But
cute.
anyway, that's when you kind of get here's how she transports from the modern world into
Yes.
whatever fantasy land this is and starts fighting. And she's got these cool leaping powers, platforming, combat. It all looks pretty great. So I'm intrigued by this game. But I don't think we have any idea when this I think it's spring, they said,
Of
right?
course, because
I think
everything's
so.
right.
Because
everything's
every
in the
game
spring.
ever made is coming out.
I
in the
could be wrong. I think it's using the same engine as 15. I could be wrong, but I think it is.
It looks good.
It does look
it-
good.
I saw something where people were listing who is part of the writing credits. Amy Hennig is part of the writing.
Whoa.
Whoa!
There's a
yeah,
name I
after
haven't
being,
heard in a
like
while.
ousted from her Star Wars project.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
I haven't
So,
heard her name in a
I
while.
saw that and I was like, all right, cool.
All right, nice.
I think
Yeah.
she made the best.
This strikes me as a
Uncharted
game that's
out there,
not
so.
going to come in the spring. This strikes me as a game that's one of, and Dan, you made this point. Yeah,
Summer,
everything is saying spring, but there are a bunch of these are going to get bumped back, if not
Sure.
half of them.
Sure.
I think this is one that strikes me as like a summer, like Jeff said, maybe even fall release, but who knows?
This doesn't make spring first quarter. Or anything.
Yeah.
They don't
I
want to
think
bump it
this
against
is,
16 though. They don't want to bump it up against 16 though.
Depends on when 16's ready. You know?
I feel like this is the this is like the closest we'll get to. I mean, we'll probably end up getting a Doctor Strange game for sure, but this feels like the closest thing we're going to get to it so
It
far.
looks cool and
'Cause, I mean, it
magical,
feels like
yeah.
the combat is just magic, and I love that. I'm
And
super
dashing
into that.
around, like it
Lot of
looks super
dashing, yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Traversal looks really good. Yeah.
Well, speaking of being excited, Rainbow Six Siege Extraction got
Yeah, that was an
that's
awful
coming out.
transition.
it's coming out in January.
Extract me from this
Yeah, I was gonna say,
conversation.
extract me out of here.
Extract me
Extract
from
me out of
this.
here.
Then we got Alan Wake Remastered, got a trailer. I do think this is like the visual improvements are there, but I also just replayed it and it did get visual improvements, I think, on some kind of re-release. It got a HD remaster of some kind on Xbox or
Not on PS5, PS4,
Maybe a
PS5.
side
right?
upgrade.
So,
I was gonna say the big deal now is that it's coming to PlayStation consoles. That's the big new experience. Coming out October 5th. It's a good spooky thriller kind of a game. So I recommend it for folks who haven't tried
It's
it.
gonna be my first time playing it, and then 2021 is just gonna be dominated by old games.
Dude,
It's-
Yeah,
Our
It's
game of
great.
the year debate's we're just gonna have to open it up to any year.
yeah, right, exactly.
Because right
All
now
the
I'm not really
years.
passionate about anything. except
Because
for
listen,
Mass Effect.
some of us for the first time have played Mass Effect, Gears of War. I mean, we're
Yeah.
experiencing all this new stuff.
Yeah.
It's time to rank all kinds of years.
Every
Yeah,
game
that-
ever is gonna be
the
our
ultimate
GOT,
year rankage.
GOTY.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Game of the all time. Grand Theft Auto 5 and
Oh,
GTA Online
finally.
coming to PS5. It's really to next gen consoles. It's not just PS5 in March. We didn't really have any kind of release window for that until now, so we know they're targeting
Finally.
March.
For whatever reason, I thought like they announced like November, and then
They did.
Yeah,
It
and
got
so
put
this is
back.
like this is a
I think
legitimate
you're right.
delay.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
know
I
that.
thought it was
That's
coming
accurate.
out November 3rd, and then I
They-
think this
they
is
did.
like legitimately
Oh,
delayed,
this is a
which is like
5-month
really.
It was
like,
November. It was 11/11. Yep, I had it
Yeah.
in my watch list thing. Or
All right,
whatever you wanna call it.
Skyrim, chill out. That's when Skyrim.
So this is a legit 5-month bump then. So there you go.
Wow.
GTA 5.
I'm okay with that. I mean, if it's gonna play amazing and actually look better.
I
sure.
mean, the trailer I watched didn't show that, but yeah,
Yeah, I know.
I'm hoping
mean,
that
I don't
the final
think-
product.
Unless I'm totally forgetting, I don't think your tournament last week reflected how good it was either, but I could be wrong.
I tried so hard.
made it
I
to the
tried,
final
I tried
battle,
to get
man.
the
What do you
courage,
want?
Tim, to
I
like,
want-
push that
I
one
want-
forward.
the correct result is what I
The
want.
superior game.
Hey,
won.
I'm on GTA 5 side, okay, but still
we
made it
should
to
have
the final.
collaborated more, Jeff, because I was so ready to push that forward.
Kyle,
but-
you know in your heart what the right answer was.
No,
And
you got me in too many corners about using my own philosophy against me about narrative and stuff, and I was like, I'm all confused. I don't know what to choose.
Oh man.
I
Well, we
should
did
have
get
I
it.
should have hit harder that Last of Us 2's gameplay was
Last of
way
Us
Wasn't
freaking
fun.
better
Isn't
than the
fun.
first one. Yeah, I'm sorry, it is.
Whereas,
I mean,
whereas Grand Theft Auto is
fair,
very
though.
fun.
That's not fair. You got to look at it as the game of that year. Come on.
Well, no,
whatever.
it's not that like that game is stressful to play. Like that's not a fun. Like you're not
No,
like
you're
wow,
right.
what a
It's
gas
fun.
this is to play.
It's
you
What
know?
a gas, yeah.
All right, so
that's part of it.
Ghostwire Tokyo has been silent for a while. We've been
Yes, it
wondering,
has.
where is this? Is
Yeah,
this
'cause
we talked
somebody
about?
left
Who's
the
gonna
project,
talk
right?
about it, and we
lead
hadn't really
director.
heard much about it since the Microsoft acquisition of Bethesda. Honestly, like we had heard
'Cause this is
a
still
little bit. We heard
PlayStation
about
game, right?
we heard about
Yes.
a delay, and when we heard confirmation that it's still going to be a PlayStation exclusive. That's really all we heard. We didn't see any. Speaking of trailers, we didn't see any updates or hear more gameplay or anything. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see something about it. I still didn't see a date on there, unless you guys saw something.
No date. It was the best showing of this game so far, though. They actually showed the main character.
Cool
You
gameplay.
kinda- Yeah, like something going on with his face, and then that's obviously tied to him being able to like do like his abilities that he's doing. I still don't like that it's first person. I just would prefer it being third person, just like the aesthetic and being kind of like in Tokyo or something Tokyo like. I think it is. Well, yeah, of course it's Tokyo. The game is called Ghostwire Tokyo. So just answer my own question.
Regular Sherlock Holmes over here.
But yeah, I like the vibes of it. I like great colors, just very a lot of neon blues and pinks and
A lot
reds.
of creepy creatures you're going to be fighting.
Yes,
in
yes,
this game.
yes.
I don't know. I expected more from the graphics, but I'm still gonna play it. I still like the combat that they showed and stuff.
I think this game is clearly going through troubles. I mean, it's taken longer.
This game
I
got
think.
announced like 5 years ago. It feels like
Yeah.
it did. It feels like it
Jeff, you
did.
make
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah,
It
so
actually
I feel
visually
like
didn't strike me as anything
you're
special.
valid for thinking that it should have better graphics, but it's probably being built off an engine that's like two versions older than it
probably.
should be. So.
They
You're
made
probably
Evil Within 1 and 2, and those are pretty great.
Those
think,
look
so.
great. Yeah.
Especially 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially too. That'll scare the bejesus out of you.
Listen, if you're a Marvel fan, it's been a good year, and it's only going to get better and the next few years also, by the way. But Guardians of the Galaxy is hitting this October. I'm so glad that there wasn't some sort of and now
Surprise
it's coming in
delay.
March or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like they did with Sifu, where it was like they did the reveal of like it's 2021.
The
And then they
dates.
flipped it to 2022. Like we should be grateful. Thank you, I guess.
Yeah,
there was
you're welcome.
And then the Horizon news where it was like, I know we were hoping to hit by holiday. We weren't sure, but we can finally announce. We're excited to tell you it won't be this holiday. It's like, okay. Anyway, this is coming October 26th. I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Still,
This looks like a lot
still
of fun.
pumped for it. Yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic. And if it turns out to be yet another one of our favorite swimming in seven style of game, I'm sure it'll still have its fun moments. So I don't need to see anything else about Blood Hunt. I have no interest in the Vampire, whatever, Masquerade. Who cares?
I mean,
I don't,
But not the
looks
RPG
somewhat
or don't
interesting.
talk about
Yeah,
the
it's not the
series.
Bloodlines 2 one that keeps getting delayed. I don't really care about it.
It's never coming out. That's never coming.
Yeah, didn't that
I
game
want
get
that
put on,
game
like,
so bad.
Indefinite hiatus or something.
Yeah, it's never.
It did because they had to fire somebody. Or
People
like
left. Yeah, left.
people left the company or whatever.
well, when the next game came up, I was literally doing something else at the moment, and I saw it, and I kind of looked away, and all I wrote down in my notes was Deathloop, another trailer.
That
That's
trailer went on
all
so
there.
long that
I could not believe it was
I
5
couldn't. I
minutes.
can't believe how tone deaf they are about like the whole internet's going like, I don't care about this game and I don't show it anymore. And
Yeah.
like, you
For
know,
real,
and I
that's
thi-
the problem.
it's gonna sell, but like, no one's excited about buying
No, but
it.
that's the
I
thing, I
don't know anybody in the group who's like, Deathloop's my game of the year. You know, like.
Well, not game of the year, but I think it genuinely looks interesting and
No,
potentially
I'm
fun.
saying it's an
Yeah.
arcane game. It's gonna be amazing, but like
Overexposure.
I feel like they're
Yes.
trying to make everybody more excited than anybody actually is about.
But that's
this
the
game.
thing. I think early on, like really early on, people were just like, "What the hell is this? I have no interest." And I think that's
Yeah.
part of the problem because everyone was
Yes.
like, "This looks like whatever," and it's like, "But you guys have loved Dishonored, so why are you shitting on this game?"
Yeah, I never
So,
understood.
you
I
know.
never understood the apprehension for this game, and maybe
Yeah,
the
yeah.
apprehension is why we have 1,000 trailers now.
Right.
so,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
It
would have
is
rather
what it
taken
is.
a 30-second announcement or reminder trailer and then all of everything in its right place. And the next trailer, all of Radiohead's everything in its right place
Oh,
to show off whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
We don't know what Kid Amnesia Exhibitions or whatever it's called is, but we know it's presented by Radiohead and Epic Games, and it featured a really awesome Radiohead classic song.
Yeah.
So, and it said November.
It's the album. The album, which is Kid A, is, well, it's not my favorite, but it's one of my favorite. It's my favorite band of all time. Period.
Oh, is it?
Okay, Computer is just top to bottom, just the best album ever.
So.
But Kid A is really great too. It's up there. Amnesiac's like all the B-sides of Kid A, basically came out the year after. So they're releasing them together, and they're releasing a third disc with it in November.
This seems like it's going to be a musical experience to me,
I think
not
so
a
too.
game.
I think so too. And because it's like a 3-disc release, I think it's going to be the whole thing, and that's going to be like 3 or 4 hours.
It's going to be like a visual music experience.
I think so too. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Nothing
a lot
wrong
of
with
clicking, and the camera moves on its own, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Because
Speaking of a crazy experience, Tachia, guys,
That was a cool trailer.
This game looks like the kind of game that I will secretly like, but tell everyone my kids like it. That I might actually secretly
it's
like
Animal
it.
Crossing,
And Derek will make fun of you.
It's got a little bit of Zelda, Stardew Valley. It's got a little bit of all those little pieces where you're farming and exploring, a little bit of survival perhaps, but also some fighting and gliders stolen straight out of Breath of the Wild. But whatever, it looks interesting. I didn't see any release date on this one yet. This one looks like one that once it's on sale or on Game Pass, I'll definitely try it out.
This is what everybody calls cute.
Very cute.
It's a cute game.
It's very cute.
And then that's where the show ended. That was a great show, everybody.
That was it.
Yeah.
That's why we got so excited in our chat.
Such a good show, dude. I
Real
can't
quick,
believe they
shout
ended on that. It was so brave.
Shout out to Radiohead's "Optimistic." I think that's an underrated song. I don't hear anybody ever talk about that. They're always talking about Creep.
Yeah.
Creep. Optimistic is the best. Yeah, that's I covered that.
Creep is the one that like hit the more mainstream, but there was so many other.
Optimistic is great.
Creep is in True Colors. Life is Strange.
Oh, okay. There you
Definitely, yeah. When you get to that part,
it is, yeah. No.
I'm like, ooh, this is a beautiful version of this song. She doesn't get to the run part because she's just kind of singing quietly, but it's a great version of that song.
Well, we know that Naughty Dog's not doing nothing because they have remastered versions of Uncharted 4 and Uncharted Lost Legacy coming to PS5. And this is the big news, in my opinion, to PC. Yep. We know that Sony's been pretty stingy with keeping their first-party experiences on their platform. I mean, it's not like it's Uncharted 5 releasing day and date on PC or anything, but it's significant that this may.
It looks like they acquired very recently, like in the last few months, they acquired a PC porting developer.
Yep.
So I mean, I feel like this either this is part of that or this was already in the works, but we're going to be seeing a lot more of these, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Horizon came out a couple years ago, right? On PC. So like, I think they're way more open to it than they've ever been. So.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Death Stranding, Days Gone. I mean, they've been starting to lean into PC a little bit.
Death Stranding had a wild renaissance on PC. Like people really attached themselves to that game on PC.
It'd be nice if we got the whole Uncharted series, the Nathan Drake collection. And maybe they will at some point, but it'd be cool to have that, especially for PC gamers.
I think they're holding off because you can't remaster it anymore. It's a PS3 game. They remastered it for PS4. They're going to have to remake those if they want to use it.
I don't know. I think what if they just released them as is, as the remaster, as the Nathan Drake collection?
I mean, PlayStation's comfortable with that.
I feel like PC games that are dated, but anyway.
Yeah.
But you're right. People would be like, "Wait, this is the same thing." You're right.
Yeah,
they get some backlash.
If they remade it in the current engine, which looks amazing, those would sell. I mean, Naughty Dog would just never have to make a game again.
I just can't even imagine a Thieves End looking better than it did. I just remember playing that game and being like, "This is like, it's never gonna get better."
I just replayed it recently, like before I got my new TV and before I, PS5. Well, obviously before the PS5 remaster, and like I was already blown away by PS4 Pro. Whatever version I played on my old TV. Like, I mean, it looked amazing. So the fact that it's going to look even better.
Crazy.
Unreal.
And Lost Legacy was a really stunning game as well.
Absolutely.
I love Lost Legacy. Yeah.
Sure looked good. But that's where things started to ramp up was, they're putting Uncharted on PC. That's pretty exciting. And then they cut to this bar fight scene. Clearly someone had their way with all kinds of thugs and ne'er-do-wells.
Had their way.
And they were sitting there having a drink at the bar with the plaid. I immediately wondered, like, is this I saw that scene from the first was it first X-Men film?
Yeah.
I kind of envisioned that Logan, right? Kind of the
Okay.
lumberjack hiding out in the woods, kind of Logan.
The hat
Um,
threw me off.
And
Yeah, the
then when
hat
it
was
zoomed in on his
intended to
hand,
throw
I was
you
like,
off.
uh-oh.
Yeah, it's Wolverine.
And
Yeah.
I could already hear like what's the comic book sound?
Swing, swing.
Is it like
Yeah,
schnick?
Swing.
Shink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was really cool, and of course the claws
Yeah.
come out and it cuts and just says Wolverine, and it's from Insomniac.
Dude, that's
So,
insane.
We're
Like-
never like this game's coming out 2028. Like there's no way this game
No,
is
No,
Kyle.
I
like-
think it's gonna be
No,
a focused
Kyle.
experience. I think it's gonna be
if
focused.
this were
Yeah, this
an
one strikes
Xbox
me as a
developer,
linear
that'd be
opportunity.
chill.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're working on like something we're talking about later too,
This
which
is
will take the
Insomniac. They
surprise for.
somehow
But
created Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart,
Yeah.
Miles Morales.
Morales.
they're too busy. They're too busy. They
They've
have
been
time for a
turn out-
Wolverine game
They're
on top of
expanding. They're clearly expanding.
Yeah.
Clearly.
All right.
But
I
I
really
do
do.
think
I
it's-
really do. This strikes me as 2024 because I think obviously they're expanding.
Because the next game we'll talk about, or in a couple games, that one said 2023. So I think
yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, and I think that's coming out first. If I had to,
I
Yep.
think
There's
2024.
obviously
is-
gameplay
probably
of
right.
that. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be insane if it's before 2024. I'd be very impressed. Like, how did you do this?
Yeah.
I don't
Um,
expect them to. We'll get to it. We'll get to the next game that they talked about. But Wolverine, like I've already speculated, I feel like it's going to be a linear experience because I don't see a lot of benefit to making an open world Wolverine
Right.
game where you're running around or driving somewhere. Like I just
I'm
don't
here
see
for
it.
I'm here
huge
for
benefit.
a corridor killing Wolverine.
Oh,
game.
I'm
That's
100% on board.
Yeah,
Like
like
Uncharted with somewhat open areas, but like
Yeah,
somewhat
yeah.
like hubs. or
literally like
something.
Wolverine
Yeah.
Origin, which while that
Yeah.
movie sucked, that game was
Yes.
awesome. So
Yes.
Oh yeah, that game was great. Like the director's cut version of that, whatever that was.
I
Yeah.
think it was called like
Uncaged.
it was Uncaged, Unleashed, something like that.
Yeah,
where-
yeah.
yeah, they need to bring
Or
that
it was,
game
like,
back.
R-rated.
They need to put that on backwards compatibility Game Pass.
But I
Like,
do
that
think-
needs,
I do think it's, of course, it's possible for them to figure out a way to do an open world, especially if it's out in like the mountains and the woods. Like if it's that type of Logan story where it's not
And we're
necessarily
talking-
urban,
yeah.
then you could give him a vehicle. There's a lot of things you could do.
well, Insomniac, like they're really good at open world games.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
There's a lot of things
God,
you
I
could do.
I
to
can't
make
wait to stealth kill people with claws. Oh my god, it's gonna be so good.
I
So
hope
cutting
it's so,
dudes, like,
I
in
hope
half-
it's so
Oh my God.
M-rated. I hope they don't even like play around with it. Like
Yeah.
I want to see him just slicing through people.
Oh
and
yeah.
I want to hear
his
the
skin
screams.
falling off. Like
Oh,
I
man.
want it so bad. Like
I want like half of their body
You guys
like
are so
flapping,
violent.
like as it's hanging off. Like he kind of like he sliced like 3/4 down, but not all the way. and, like,
flappy meats. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm here
flappy
for the flappy
meats,
meats. Yeah.
And
chunky
even the guy's
slice.
like,
I
"What's
want a
wrong
chunky
with you?
slice."
Why did you do that to me?" All right. Gran Turismo 7 got a showing, and got to see a lot of the cool,
Looks
sleek,
gorgeous.
pretty cars, customization, some
Great trailer.
tracks. No date still, but Gran Turismo, of course, just like we have to say with the Forza series for Xbox, these are just really pretty games, great showpiece games. And if you like cars, if you like racing, if you like unlocking stuff, I mean, these games will check all those boxes for you.
In
Heavy
that after show
customization.
for Gran Turismo, they showed a lot of the reflection technology. I've never seen reflection technology so pristine
Yeah.
in my entire life. Like it's
crazy.
out of
Yep.
this world. The
Like an
graphics in
actual
this
car.
game.
Cool. Gran Turismo 7. We don't know when that's coming out. But then they showed a teaser. I thought we were done with Marvel stuff. I'll be honest with you. But then we saw this teaser pop up. I had no idea what it was because they didn't tease with a logo, with anything. Hang on, we got a visitor that needs to come before we could talk about this. We're waiting for this visitor to show up. I invited him. I was hoping he would.
Yeah, you would think he'd RSVP, but I guess he's busy fighting crime or something.
Well, he's moving slower than he usually does. So,
Yeah, real slow.
There he
It's a
is.
cheat day. It's a pizza day.
Spider-Man. So glad
Sorry
to have you.
guys, I was
What a-
really exhausted. You know.
What a
That's okay.
treat.
All right. Thank you again for showing up for the
Yeah,
show.
no
I mean,
problem.
we really
to have
appreciate
time
it.
for the little guys, you know, like it's
Yeah.
what a
Yeah,
huge-
I appreciate you showing up, Peter. I mean, Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Jeff, come on, man.
I gotta deliver the pizzas. I gotta pay the bills. You know, Daniel's he's just a very angry landlord. He's very stingy.
Bet.
You know, pay me rent. You know.
I bet. You
kinda
know,
thing.
like
Wait,
being
y'all
a
are
hero.
roommates? 'Cause there's a
being a
lot of
hero
lore here.
doesn't
That
pay.
I would love to explore all this lore with you. to be honest.
There's no lore. This is real life, guy. I don't know your name because we've never met. So
We met last episode.
If you're just
Yeah, like,
listening,
I didn't get your name.
if you're just listening, Spider-Man has arrived on the podcast because
Being a real
we got
asshole.
the announcement, official announcement. Everyone knew it was happening. Spider-Man 2
of
is in
course.
development from Insomniac, but it was really cool. I loved the teaser. It wasn't just like a silhouette of him perched up high
Yeah.
somewhere. It showed him and Miles working together with some really cool taking down bad guys.
Yeah,
a
that's my
combination of
boy.
that.
That's my boy.
Yep.
It was really cool. They were
That's your
both
boy.
together.
Yes.
That's my boy.
And then you heard a voiceover from, I'm not sure who was doing the voiceover, but they're saying, I'm looking for someone who's
Well,
It sounded like I thought it was Craven or something.
See,
Everyone
so
thinks it's Craven.
Yeah,
The world.
I would say it's Craven. I bumped into him a couple times, you know. So.
Okay, thanks, Spidey. That's good insight. I didn't
Yeah.
realize.
He's hunting me all the time. He just won't leave me alone.
But you
that
know,
is his name.
it seemed like he was saying he was looking for one of the two Spider-Man to step up, and then of course, out of the darkness of the alley, we hear someone volunteer as tribute, and that person's name is Venom.
Yeah. Whew. Don't even get me started on
You're-
that guy.
You guys have really had a roller coaster, up and down relationship. I know.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
it's
yeah.
been a wild ride.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man 2 said 2023. Venom's going to be involved somehow. We're excited to see you in your game. You can get back to doing your crunches now if you need to.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Who I am next time, Spider-Man. Rude.
I don't know what that was. That was him
I
shooting.
I don't like him as. I don't like him.
That's
as
the
guest.
noises
I don't like him.
shooters make. I think our villains are in for.
Dude, where's
He
my
seems
fucking rent?
He seems
Where's
like the
my
kind of Spider-Man that would have like built-in organic shooters, to be honest. So
this son?
Yeah,
This son of a
probably.
bitch won't give me the goddamn rent that he owes me.
Well, you're very mean to Spider-Man. I didn't expect this. I got to be honest with you.
Tim, listen, I live in one of the most expensive states in the country. All right, I need the
how do
money.
you be
okay?
more pro-hero? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's out there working for the common man. So
Is
this
he?
could have been. They could have ended the show with that, and
Yeah,
we
I
would
would have been. I would have been like,
what a-
"Woo."
what a cool show. But they
Yeah.
didn't. They cut over to Kratos sitting in a cave, and we got to see teenager, or at least I would say probably 14,
Like,
15-year-old
Yeah, I was gonna say
Atreus.
like around
Teenager.
15.
Yeah,
tween.
Atreus definitely has grown up a little bit. We got to see some other characters from the first game, of course, including
Freya.
Freya.
Yeah. We
Freya.
got to see after the fact. This is why some of the after stuff was cool. Some pictures they released. We got to see what Thor's gonna look like. We got to see Tyr. They showed him in the trailer, which was cool.
Yeah, weird
So
that they
that-
showed the pictures of that, but not like in the trailer. Like why? Like
They
just
showed
say-
Tyr in the trailer, but not Thor. You're right.
Not Thor. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which was
yeah.
weird.
I'm
Well,
assuming that the
and
way
there
that
goes
he
all those
moves and-
theories about Kratos being Tyr that everyone had last. So sorry everybody. Those theories
Sorry,
are dead.
everybody.
Yeah, there was man. They crafted that theory really well too. Where I was like,
I
maybe.
totally a believer. It was
Yep.
it was Mass Effect's indoctrination theory ending all over again, where it's
Wait,
like it's not
so-
the Steam ending, it's the YouTube ending, you know.
The big snake dude. Is there a connection to Tyr with that? Is that what the
The big snake
The
guy.
world snake?
yeah the world
World
snake?
snake?
Is that connected
Yeah,
to Tyr?
I don't know off the top of my head, but yes, there
Okay,
is.
because that's the theory that I remember getting thrown around. That's actually Kratos from like the future going into the past or whatever. Because they mentioned something about like that snake can like go through time or like came from the future or something. But I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how what
Norse
pieces,
mythology is all about cycles, so yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what pieces of the lore they pull in. Of course, they're not locked into using things the same way that every other
Sure.
version of Norse.
Did I
mythology
hear
has,
right?
so-
This is the last in the Norse mythology series, though. Is that what they were saying?
I
I
don't
thought I
know
read
if-
that too.
I don't know
Huh.
if that's confirmed or not. That's worth looking
Okay.
up. But I do know
I
that
heard
that's
the phrase
people have been
wrapping
talking
up
about
the
it.
Norse mythology. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
are
from
you
one of the
kidding
developers.
me?
in
Well,
the
so
after show.
does
I
that-
think
so
you're
then
doing
the
two
disrespect
games.
to Odin. Oh my god.
Well, then that means that Ragnarok is probably going to happen then, and then
Well, I
let's
mean,
just
the
wait, maybe they
game
go
is
somewhere.
called Ragnarok, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I would
it's
hope
gonna
that would
happen.
Yeah,
And then I guess maybe they go somewhere else. Like I don't know.
So I
Maybe,
haven't said this
yeah.
in case you guys haven't watched. If you're listening and haven't seen this, they actually did officially reveal the title is God of War Ragnarok. They did not give a release date, which is fine. This is probably at the very earliest the 2022 holiday game, maybe early 2023. We'll see.
It looks
but
like
it's
a lot of the game is done, which
it
is
was
very
cool
surprising.
to see. Yeah, we saw a lot of combat, some stuff that we've seen in the first game, but also
town?
some new pieces. We
Yeah, you saw literally the whole world of the game.
Yep.
When he's looking over the ledge, it's like, oh, that's the entire map.
So it'd be fair to say if some folks are like this is more done than you think, it's actually going to be a summer or early fall game. Fair enough, it might be. Sony's done that before. It also might not be anywhere close to ready. Like
Yeah,
maybe
I
they
don't
had that very
have my
vertical
hopes up,
slice ready to show us. You know.
I don't have my hopes up, but I wouldn't be surprised if it
Yeah.
was an earlier release.
Yep, that'd be great. We did learn that Cory Barlog is not directing. That doesn't mean he's not involved. Apparently, he is very much involved, and he even
Yeah.
said that they've got another game that he's heading up that he
Yep.
can't wait to tell people about. But right now, their whole team at Santa Monica is mostly focused on Ragnarok. So it's not like he's not involved. It's his full-time job there. He's creative director there. He's certainly involved. He's just not acting as director. That's Eric Williams, who, don't worry, has been involved with God of War since 2004
Yeah.
as a designer, and he's actually headed up
Long
a lot
time.
of the combat design and elements there.
Good.
So he knows what he's doing.
They even said in the interview, we change directors every title. This isn't new.
They said it helps
So-
keep
Well,
things fresh.
Jaffe
and-
did the original, right? Wasn't it
Yeah.
Jaffe?
Yeah,
So,
Corey,
they've been.
Corey's the only
Corey
repeat
was
director.
there. Yeah, Corey was like there, like in the beginning, but like, yeah, I feel like this is kind of a trend of what they've been doing all along.
They might not
so.
have meant to at the beginning change directors every time, maybe, but I think they've learned whether they plan to or not. It's what they do now.
It benefits
Yeah.
the game better, apparently. Yeah.
So I think that's cool, and I think that's cool that they continue to collaborate with the people that originally cast the vision in that role too. So I'm
Also,
excited for this.
shout out to Opie, R.I.P. Justice for Opie, Sons of Anarchy. Spoilers on Sons of Anarchy, I guess.
How dare
He's
you.
playing Thor. He sounds just like Josh Brolin, but he's playing Thor. Ryan Hurst.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
I would say
Um,
most people will know him probably from Remember the Titans, but yes, you're right. A lot of people have seen Sons of Anarchy would know him from that too.
Oh, he's got like, I think there's more of a fan club for him out of Sons of Anarchy than there is for like Jax or anybody else.
I
In that
think
show.
the average person on the street is more likely to have seen Remember the Titans than Sons of Anarchy.
Probably.
As average Kyle,
Just
I've
run
never
into a
seen
white
Sons of
dude.
Anarchy, and I have seen Remember the Titans. So yeah.
So you've seen both, or you haven't seen?
No,
both?
no, I've never seen Sons of Anarchy,
Oh,
and
okay,
I have
okay.
seen Remember the Titans.
It's a big following with that show, though.
Yeah.
Ryan Hurst
There
got
is,
very
Sons of
gruff
Anarchy is
in,
like insanely popular. so.
Regardless of people's thoughts on that show, his character Ryan Hurst is great in that show, regardless of how.
He's turned very gruff from was he a quarterback or something?
Yeah.
in,
No, he was on. I think he was on the defense with his buddy that he
okay.
hated at first. And they become best friends, and
So he was like a clean cut, young boy.
he's the one.
in that,
I think
and-
it's Bertier. Anyway, he gets injured.
right. I do
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
All right, let me close this out.
Fat Thor for the win. Go ahead.
Big Brain Academy, Brain versus Brain is coming out December 3rd, same day as Advance Wars reboot
Well,
camp or whatever they're calling that. So
I mean, we
there's
know
some
which one's
Switch-
more important, so.
some Switch stuff happening too. All right, well that does it for us this week. There's a lot of news, a lot of games we're playing. We talked about how like there's not a lot of games coming out. That's false. There are a lot of games coming out. There's just
Tons.
not a lot of like some of the stuff we talked about here. Your Wolverines, your Spider-Man 2s, your
Yeah.
God of Wars. All of those are currently being developed, and they're not necessarily releasing in 2021. A few of them, like Resident Evil 8, came out this year. There's just not a lot of those. But we've got plenty of other stuff, whether it's colors or male ladies or Japanese people with no face masks. Yeah, all over the place.
I mean, it's an iron mask, Tim.
I know.
It's
I know.
made of iron.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you
Yeah.
guys for being here.
Yeah.
Derek, despite what these guys say, we missed you.
We're gonna
Talk to you guys
we're
next
gonna death loop next week's episode in 8 minutes. A loop of
That-
8 minutes. That's what we're gonna do.
It's gonna be amazing. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.
I want another trailer of Deathloop before it comes out, like a new trailer.